music one. That's cool.
You do the kickoff.
I'll do the kickoff. We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. This is Gareth. That's Mike. And we've chatted for a while about doing a live stream about music, because we've got like proper crossover, and we've loved just chatting privately about music. So I thought it'd be really nice to do this with you guys. So because it was a very obvious way to start, the first part of this live stream is going to be about folk, and it's going to be about folk albums. We've decided to pick 10 favorite folk albums, but then we've also decided to pick out 10 books that we love as well that relate to music. So there's two parts to the chat, and it's going to be awesome. And thanks for tuning in. So we're going to go one by one. We're going to sort of alternate, and we're going to pick. The first thing is we're going to be picking our top 10 folk albums. So do we need to define what folk is, Mike?
Well, I've always failed to define folk. The way I define folk is folk music is the music of the people. And once you give that broad definition, it's a flexible definition. The real old folk to me is people sitting around the campfire with somebody playing the guitar, or even back to the cavemen. It's always been about music as part of the social fabric of the tribe or whoever it is. I think in modern ages, folk music has sort of got kicked around a bit and blurred with pop, and then suddenly, all pop is what's popular at the moment, and in the 60s that was folk, so it tweaks a little bit. I know you look like you're coming from the you and Nicole purist group.
No, well, I would say that I'd say that popular music, as in rock and pop, is the music of the people now, and folk music is an element of that. Traditional folk music is what was the music of the people, yes. And I think now
classical music was 1,000 years before. Well,
no, I don't think classical music was the music of the people in the same way. The folk songs, ballads, and all that sort of stuff were around at the same time as classical music, and those were being sung around random places to anybody. And classical music was usually being paid for to be composed, and it was being played in the courts and all that. So it's slightly different history with classical music. Classical music. I would agree. I do think there's that trajectory with folk music, but if you think about punk music, heavy metal, that's music of the people. Like current, really dark metal talks, they have lyrics about what teenagers are going through now and how they feel about their place in the world and all that. Folk songs don't really do that in the same way, but they would have done an equivalent of that hundreds of years ago, when it was music of the people. Do you know what I mean? But now rock and pop is the music of the people.
Okay, could I try again? Because I did a show a little while ago on the history of protest music. And to be honest, in my mind, protest music and folk music are very close to each other, because a lot of the history of folk music is about telling stories, and those stories are inevitably about what isn't the way it should be in society. Do you know what I mean? To me, there's a very close link between protest music and folk music. But the way I introduced this talk was, I said, if history is the story of mankind striving for betterment of his lot, then folk music is the soundtrack to that story. That's the way I tried to shape it. And I take your point entirely. But I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong that classical music was elite and therefore was probably never. It may, the degree of popularity, I frankly don't know. But I'm not sure if I fully buy what you're saying about pop music, because to me, pop is not a description of music. It's a temporary state. It's like what is drifting into.
No, it's not. But it's not. I talk with this. I talk about this with my students. In the first lesson, I always say, "What is popular music?" or "What is pop music?" And they always give me the wrong answers. And one of the answers I always get is,
"That's not me giving you the wrong answer."
They always say music that's popular, I can reel off tons and tons of artists and albums that are not popular. It's not necessarily stuff that's popular, and there's a whole there's loads of different layers of the most popular and stuff that manages to get some kind of traction, but it's not that popular. So it's
I mean,
not,
please understand this more, but maybe not tonight, because I think we might be scaring our audience.
But one last thing about the protest songs thing. I'd say most protest songs now are being put out by rock musicians.
That's fair. Yeah, I think so.
But again, that goes back to the idea that it's music of the people.
But that's, I mean, what about the Roy Baileys and guys like that who now,
I love them. I absolutely love them. Yeah, and that's a really important part of the folk tradition. It's an important part of folk music, but that's to a very small audience. Do you know what I mean? The folk music has a very small audience. No, but when Bruce Springsteen does a song about Minneapolis,
that's
during the Ice Age, that was huge. Loads of people listened. You know, and he's not a folk musician. You know, he's a rock musician.
I still compile a CD's worth playlist every year of the best new protest music, and there is some amazing stuff coming out. You know, the subject matter of the protest music can shift. Hey, there's a lot of female artists coming out with things like gender violence and all kinds of, you know, different from your sort of narrow protest music of the past.
There's a great song by what's her name? I forgot her name. It's called Labour. It's a fantastic feminist song called Labour. I've forgotten who it's by. Paloma something, I think. And presumably you must have lots of songs that I've written on your protest song playlist as well, right?
I'm very far from your market, Gareth.
I know you've been very generous about Bemis in the past. Should we say hello to Margaret and Heidi? Margaret and Heidi are on here, so let's have a. I think there might be maybe small people, but Margaret and Heidi are definitely here. So let's say hello to them first.
Hello, Margaret.
Go books too. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the books bit as well.
I slightly envy Gareth because the title of his channel, I think, gives him a wider mandate than me. You know, mine is very much a reading Renaissance channel, and
Riffs Reading Relations. You got a fantastic name for your channel, Mike.
Well, in fact, it was a thought-through name because it was designed to say to people, "Come with me on a journey of discovery. I'm not the expert. This is literally my finding my way." You know, and it's because I think. Yeah, I am not an expert. I know bits about bits, but I'm not an expert. But
the name of my channel is too vague, in some ways. So let's, if I had a wrench, do we need to? Should we put we need to put the playlist in the chat?
If Margaret is offering, do you know what a wrench is? Because I know Margaret knows what a wrench is, Gareth. It's empowering Margaret to do stuff in our chat, which I would give. If you could find a button that says "Give Margaret a wrench," I would give her a wrench.
Give a man a wrench, you take a mile. How do I do that? If I had a wrench, if I had a hammer, isn't it? The folk song.
If I had a hammer was the old.
How do I do that? I can't see anything, any little link there.
Yeah, I don't
people,
know.
if I go to people, no, it's not. No, it's just us.
And there's nothing next to Margaret's name in the people list. Can you see Margaret as a participant?
I could, as a participant.
Well, I don't know. I have to say I'm not familiar with StreamYard. I've used Zoom and I've used Teams and StreamYard.
Margaret's very clever at this, isn't she? It's got to be said.
When I watch Margaret's lives, it's zooty. All kinds of things fly in and out, and it's very impressive.
There's a plus button. What happens there? I don't know what that. I don't know what that is. No, get rid of that. If I get confused, just gonna get rid of it. I don't know. I'm gonna carry on because I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
But if you, but we can put the playlist in there though. We can put that as a. I mean, when you're chatting, I might be able to go out of the thing and copy it. But if you can copy it into the chat, then you can do that while I'm looking at the comments.
I don't actually have the chat up, but I can get it up. Just let's see.
You can comment on the chat.
Okay, no. Okay, hang on a sec.
Or the banjo. If she had a wrench or a banjo, she's never saying hammer.
Let me just.
Oh, there you go. She's checked the playlist out. That's cool.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm copying the playlist and then
That's
I'm
it.
looking.
If you put
Hang
that
on.
down, that would be awesome.
Just got to find it here. Where's the comments? There, chat. Okay. If I just say playlist.
He's got about 3 screens, guys. He's like proper high tech. It's like he's some sort of spy or
Sure.
something.
It's like space control. Okay. Tell me if that does that work, Gareth?
No, not yet.
Because I can see maybe it's a long way from Africa, so let's give it a moment.
Yeah.
I can see. Yeah, I can see Heidi's comment of Puff the Magic Dragon, and then I've put mine, and then I can see a comment from Margaret.
Oh, maybe it is Ellen. No,
I have found before sometimes that when I type in a comment on Margaret's live, it doesn't come up in the order. It comes up a little bit later. I do think it's
right.
it's uphill for
that's,
South Africa,
Yeah, and if not, I might be able to put it up anyway if that doesn't work. So anyway, so that's cool. Thanks for listening to the playlist. Pat's here. Hi, Pat.
Hello, Pat. Wonderful to see you. I'm always grateful when bookish people give music a chance as well, because I think Gareth and I are so passionate about music that we have to probably be a little careful that we don't lose our way in terms of. But tonight is unabashedly music. There are books.
Yeah.
There's always books.
We will. Yeah.
There's music books tonight.
I know I've got books there because a lot of them fell on my leg a minute ago, didn't they?
Well, I heard a rumor that Gareth actually had a music book haul today, so I'm very excited later in the show to see what happened.
That is true.
New books, newly hauled books is even more
new
exciting.
Haul books.
Books off the shelf. Yeah.
But yeah, the reason why we were keen about the playlist, people, is we can't play the music because we're going to get a copyright strike. So it's a funny situation where we're going to be talking about stuff, and if you know it already, that's great. But if you don't know it, you might be like, "What are they talking about?"
I was trying to work out if people are watching us on a PC, then of course they can link the playlist on their phone, and I'm sure, but I'm sure most of them are far more good at the stuff than I am. So
yeah, if you got more than one device, you're sorted. Yeah, absolutely. Margaret agrees with me on the music of the people thing. So that's cool. Thank you, Margaret. Is there a loot on your playlist?
Well, can I also say that there's a lot of stuff not on the playlist because Gareth only allowed us 10 each, and that's a bit tough. And I've tried not. I mean, I am such an obsessive about music that if you'd said to me only the top 100,
so many crossings out.
Yeah,
it was so difficult.
It's a bit like choosing your favorite child. It's very difficult. And I've consciously excluded a few, like. Those who know my channel will probably know I'm fanatical about the rock band Jethro Tull, which actually has a lot of folk in it. I have excluded them only because, they would swamp the thing. I should do a separate show on them. In fact,
I think with them, they got folk songs, but I don't think they got folk albums. I think their albums are too rocky, really.
Well, then we're going to have some interesting chats as we go through the list, because some of my folk is bordering up against folk rock. And in fact, one of the albums I've chosen is the actual album that started the folk rock genre. So
yeah, no, I get that. Folk rock is different to what I think Jethro Tull is prog rock. So I do think that's slightly different.
Can I declare? Well, I think prog rock. Let me declare an interest right up here, because otherwise we're going to constantly have this debate. I don't actually believe in musical genres any more than I believe in the studies that have said distinct racial groups actually don't work. There isn't a boundary between this and that. It's all a continuum. I agree with that. It's the same to me with musical genres, because who are they to say that you, Gareth, as a musician, can't now write a song that draws on a tradition that's outside where you've been before, and suddenly you're not. You know what I mean? So I honestly, I think these genres that we casually use are just, I nearly said lazy labels. That's probably a bit mean, but they're convenient labels for people who have to sort records in a record shop, and people who want. I mean, by saying folk today, there's probably not a lot of people coming expecting to hear metal music. You know what I mean? It does help. Yeah. But it's the boundaries are fuzzy and vague. Very much.
And there are some definite tenets to folk music. Like lyrically, they usually tell a story. there's very few "She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah" lyrics in folk music. There's normally a story. There's normally a very real story, usually about the working class. It's about the lower end of the social strata usually, and like you say, acoustic instruments usually. Quite often nowadays there'd be lots of vocal harmonies as well.
I would almost say music that is not primarily of a commercial nature. Do you know what I mean? You may push back on me on that one, Gareth. I don't know. We can think about that. But I mean, if I was to look at all the music I've got, which is, a lot, I would suspect if I ranked it by, let's say, sales of the album, I think the folk music would all be sitting at the very, very bottom.
I think that would be the trouble with that is also there's loads of other genres that aren't very commercial as well. Yeah, so
okay.
I think
but what I'm saying is the folk.
I think you're right.
The folk music. Look, maybe I am wrong. And in fairness, I mean, you live in a country where to be a professional folk musician isn't a simply ludicrous idea, whereas in my country it would be. There's no way in God's earth you could even try and make a living as a folk musician in this country. It just wouldn't happen. You would have to either do something more commercial musically, or you'd have to have another gig to pay for the rent. You know what I mean? Whereas in countries like the UK and I guess America, there is a tradition of folk music has enough critical mass to allow, and I mean, I'm sure it's a struggle. I mean, I'm not suggesting it's an easy life, but the choice to make a career out of, and I'm talking about playing music as opposed to, say, teaching music. Your teaching is, in my mind, one of those, what do you call it, portfolio type careers where you use your skills in a variety of things. But now, can I just do a quick weather check, because we're talking a lot of serious stuff about music here, and we haven't talked anything about the list. So,
that's fine. Yeah, we can move on. I do think it's interesting though. So I'll go through the comments. I can't find this history of protest video, Mike. We'll ask for it later. I just as a side comment. I know you want to get to the list, but I did a show with a friend of mine called The Brief History of Protest Songs.
Oh.
And we did it 3 times. We did it at a festival, we did it at an art centre, and we did it at a pub. And it was really interesting. We chose particular songs that we wanted to include, and I chose more commercial songs. He chose a lot of sort of grassroots people that aren't even on a label. And we talked about the importance of both those elements. War from Edwin Starr is a Motown protest song against Vietnam. Do you know what I mean? It's an amazing song, one of the best anti-war songs. But we did For What It's Worth together. Buffalo Springfield, we performed that together. We performed a bunch of them together. I don't think we did it in the show, but I learned You're the Voice because it's a very soft commercial protest song, but it's definitely a protest song. So it's kind of interesting. There's a whole gamut of stuff.
Listening to your story, I have to share an equivalent story, because to answer Margaret's question as well, the protest music history presentation was not a video. I had a friend who was a history teacher at one of the schools here, and it was the 40th anniversary of Woodstock. And he was very passionate about music. He wanted to talk to his history kids about protest music through history, as it were. And he knew I was relatively boffin on that relative to the crowd here. So he asked me to put a presentation together, which I did. And if I can, this is in danger of making me look inflated opinion of myself. But I put together a PowerPoint presentation, but it didn't look like PowerPoint. It was all images flying in and soundtracks and music. And the beauty, if you start with the music of Woodstock, which is the sort of late 60s, the richness of the quality of new music that was coming out then is just so dense. You can't go wrong. You said already, you talked about the Crosby, the
Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah, the what's going on. I mean, that kind of thing, and the Ohio song about the shooting at Kent State, all that stuff. It's just so rich and such great music that when I put this into a presentation, the first show was him and the kids, in this auditorium at the school. we'd agreed to do about 4 shows to sort of fit various kids in. By the second show, the teachers were all joining in, and by the third show, people were phoning. And I eventually had to take it round to 5 other schools, not because I think it was so brilliant, but it was just so joyous. I mean, the music, it told the history of how the Woodstock Festival came about, but it started way back. I'm trying to remember the name of the song. There's a very old protest song about not who killed Cock Robin, but it's of that nature. Man, it escapes me now. And it's been done by everybody. I actually showed them. I think we had 15 different cover versions from way back. It's the one about John the Red Nose. Do you know John the Red Nose? John the Red Nose is the village drunk. And because he's the village drunk, he can't keep his mouth shut. So he keeps telling people things that we're not supposed to talk about, that because that's something somebody did, and he keeps getting into trouble. And this apparently goes back to, I think, King John, the John around about Richard the Lionheart, that era. That's where the song started.
Right.
But I sort of showed them how. That's why I was saying that the Troubadour has been the soundtrack of history. And as you said, Gareth, it's from the bottom up. It's not top down. It's the little people, and it's the Troubadour is their voice to say, you guys up there are not doing right by us, and this is how it's wrong, and this is what should change. It's just, but you.
But also, I would say one thing that links it to rock and pop is that there's a lot of old folk songs that were also love songs.
Yes.
So we can sometimes just think it was all political, and it wasn't. There are a lot of old folk ballads, traditional folk songs that were just declarations of love. I guess that's when
true.
I'm going to see her again.
I'm guilty of not actually investing much time in that end of. I don't disagree. If I think of the music in Shakespeare's time, a lot of that would have been exactly that. But
yeah, and if you think about the sea shanties, like the one about going to Australia, and that whole song about Australia is that the center of the lyrics is about leaving his girlfriend behind.
And of course, and now you're opening the door to all the Irish folk music about the constant loss of people, and there's a brilliant song called Kilkenny, which is a story of an Irish family where when the grandpa died, they were clearing out the attic and they found all his letters that had 3 generations back about people who'd left Ireland to settle in America. And had written backwards and forwards, and it's the whole story of the family about who died and who's getting married and everything. And they took them and turned it into a song. It's there's 3 Irish guys, and I'm not going to remember their names off the top of my head, but the song is called Kilkenny. And if you want to, these days with Spotify, you can just put
Kilkenny. That's cool.
That's a song about the diaspora from Ireland because of the famine going out, to find their fortune in America, and the fact that in those days it was only by letter writing that people could keep up with who's died and who's marrying who, and it's charming. It's amazing.
Okay, Heidi's here. Hi, Heidi. My favorite folk song is "Girl from the North Country," Bob Dylan.
Fantastic, lovely song.
That's a traditional song, isn't it? And I've heard that many times with different people. I also love "The Only Living Boy in New York." It's short, it's new to me. I've I've got a great story about that song where that's one of 2 Paul Simon songs where Simon and Garfunkel songs where I improvised them on stage with someone because we were asked for an encore. That was a set we hadn't rehearsed it at all, but we were both the 3 of us massive fans of Simon and Garfunkel, and someone asked us to do "The Only Living Boy in New York," and we went, all right, let's give it a go, and we just did it. And I really loved. I picked some of the slightly more ethereal vocals to go on the top, but I loved it. Absolutely, really enjoyed it. And then we did a charity gig once where we were doing our normal set, and someone came up to the organizer, and they came up to us, and they said, "Someone just put £20 in the bucket if you do Sound of Silence." And we never rehearsed it, and we said, "Yeah, all right." So we did Sound of Silence, and we left the same verse out together by accident, which is really funny.
You make me laugh because I used to play a gig many years ago at a very posh beachfront hotel here. And it was myself and a girl a couple of years younger than me, but she was stunning, like front page, Cosmopolitan stunning. I used to joke that, I did the marketing for the gig. So I'd walk in and say, hi, we're a duo and we play nice Simon and Garfunkel songs. And they go, yeah, no, we're not interested. I'd say, well, this is my partner. I show them a photograph and they'd say, right, start. But we did post vocal harmonies. So all the Don Denvers, all the Simon and Garfunkels and Jim Croce and all that stuff. And you're quite right. If someone would come forward and say, my grandmother's always wanted to hear this song, here's $20, can you guys play it? And Lynn would look at me and say, no, we don't play that. And I say, yeah, tonight we do. The secret that non-musicians don't know is that if you know 3 or 4 or 5 chords, you can play anything.
We did a gig where there was someone from Germany in the audience. This was just a local one in Southsea. Someone was they were having a great night, and just before the break, they shouted that they wanted us to do "Stuck in the Middle with You" by Steelers Wheel. And we never looked at it before, and it's all based around the bass line. And we were like, we don't do that one. And in the break, we were like, can we do it? And then we learned it during the 20-minute break. And then sort of did it, so it was quite funny. Loads of things like that.
There is an expression which I know you'll know, Gareth, but our viewers might not know, that in folk music there's an expression about 3 chords and the truth being the definition of a folk singer, and the 3 chords bit is really true. If you could play E and D, maybe A minor, there's not a lot of songs that you can't work your way through enough to keep somebody happy who's just called the song out at a gig,
Right, so Newsies is unfortunately not that popular, but that's okay. People with taste know. Newsies is unfortunately.
I don't know what she means by Newsies. Help us out, Margaret.
Not that popular, but that's okay. I don't know. I have to explain that one.
Okay. Maybe
Paloma.
That's okay.
She's the one that does Labour.
Okay.
Amazing song, and we did. I've got this sort of family band thing that when we played at a festival, and my daughter sang that, and it was so cool. We kind of joined in with her harmonies at the end, but she sang that so well. It's really good feminist song.
I know we should get to the music, but I do feel very strongly on this issue about people who say there's no new good music, and I'm not just talking about pop music. Even within the realm of folk music or protest music, there is an immense amount of good music. I think finding it is somewhat tricky, and if you can find reference points, podcasts, etc., that guide you to the good stuff. But I don't think this year or last year is any worse than 5 years ago in terms of.
It doesn't make sense. Why would suddenly everyone lost the ability to make songs? It doesn't,
Goodness knows the protest singers have got a lot to write about.
Yeah.
They say, funny enough, there's a joke where they say that George W. Bush, when he became president, totally reignited the whole folk music protest movement, which had been quite dormant before for a couple of years. Suddenly everyone is out there sharpening their pencils again,
My 8th history teacher taught us Teach Your Children. It's that's written by David Crosby. By Buffett Springfield. Brilliant, fantastic. Such an important song. Fantastic. Other magic can fit into many good things. Absolutely.
Yes.
You can do it later. That was when we were trying to struggle to do the playlist. YouTube. Okay. You've got to go through YouTube, not StreamYard. So you've got to be direct. I've never tried that. I've never tried doing a live stream just on YouTube.
Okay.
But I still want to experiment with this live music thing, because there must be a way of doing it where it sounds okay. It sounds like it is in the room. Because when I used to do the gigs on Facebook, it was fine. So I don't understand why YouTube is a problem. So I don't know.
Well, only that, in a live gig, I don't know what you're like, Gareth, but to me, I'm afraid my prima donna side comes out. The sound must be right. I can't bear to play into bad sound.
I'm quite happy to go totally acoustic. It doesn't have to be really souped up, but it's got to sound like.
It's going to sound like you.
It's got to sound like this. The guitar had to sound like a guitar, not whatever it is. It was horrendous when we tried it. Puff the Magic Dragon.
Great song. Great
Peter, Paul and Mary.
Yes.
Maybe
not written by them though.
No. And Hammering in the Evening all over this land.
That's a wonderful song.
Pete Seeger. Yeah, and that's the political song.
Yes,
his song "Little Boxes" is brilliant, isn't it? That's a good.
But he's an endless source of brilliant stuff. I think if I had to pick one, his song about Vietnam called "Waist Deep in the Big Muddy." I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's just it's a song about the platoon leader who won't turn back. He just keeps going, and they sink further and further to this morass. You know.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. Music hall. We haven't got any music hall references, I don't think.
Oh, not hall as in HAL. And then you'll have
hall
as in HAUL, as in new books.
Coming up CS. Yeah, no, I didn't want to correct you, Heidi, but it was the second album, Deja Vu, which is an amazing album. It's got Ohio on it as well. So really important.
That whole CSN and Y is so incestuous. It's hard to keep track of who was writing what. To me, it's just an amorphous, massive, wonderful music and harmonies.
Because Crosby and Nash weren't in Buffalo Springfield, so
correct.
This of course sounds. I know exactly. I know it's really hard to pick 10.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Emerging from the 60s British blues scene, absolutely, the band soon develops a distinct prog rock sound, hard rock, English folk music, and classical music. Yeah, absolutely, and some jazz as well. So there's jazz influences as well.
They are. Look, they're my favorite band, but I think they are a case in point of proving that to try and fit one band into one musical genre, if they're a creative band that continues to evolve, is just pointless. I think prog rock is what they were in the 60s. You know what I mean? And when prog rock was new and big and exciting.
Well, no, the 70s. Most of the 70s they were a prog rock band. In the 60s they were a blues band.
Well, I suppose in fact the 60s they started in 68, so there was barely any 60s left. But you're quite right.
Yeah,
I mean,
blues band
albums like Thick as a Brick were in the early 70s. I think also I found once you get a label, you can change your musical style, and that label we still call Bob Dylan a folk singer, whereas a lot of what he's done subsequently has got nothing to do with folk.
Absolutely, Well, because
once the label's on, it sticks.
I'm proper pedantic. I call him a rock singer anyway. So there we are. But
I've given up with labels. I just love Bob Dylan. I don't really care. I mean, he's singing.
But his early albums are folk albums, though. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
And one of these crossings out is an absolutely amazing album by him, but I can't mention because I crossed it out.
No, you're allowed to mention it. Our audience is throwing songs at us, which is fantastic. We've got our official 10, and it's not the top 10; it's favorites. We've just picked.
We just picked 10 because otherwise we'd be here for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah,
we're going to be here quite well anyway. Just doing 10. Cinematic dubstep. Spotify make me laugh. I remember when my son went, "Wow, according to Spotify, I've listened to 326 genres." Yeah, Louis, there are not 326 genres. That is Spotify being completely mental. Cinematic dubstep. What?
It's a little bit like Amazon. You know, everybody says my book's number one on the Amazon list, but when you go there, it's the Amazon list of books about rainfall in the Namibian desert, and you're number one.
It's a bit niche, isn't it? I think the song you taught was "For What It's Worth" by Buffalo Springfield.
Oh, that's fantastic. That song we could talk about all night because if you know that song, and if you don't, please Spotify it, anyone who doesn't know it, because it starts with this pulse of music, and the number of films that start with that song, it is. I mean, I'll shamelessly admit my protest history presentation started with that music. I had images of everybody from Nelson Mandela. Everyone was floating in and out of this politics music and montage, but this was the song that was playing, because the lyrics are just this idea of
it's one of the first songs I learned.
Something's going on here that shouldn't be. It's one of the most.
It's a song about the right to protest. That's what it's
exactly
about.
It is, and I can think of only one other song on that subject that's good, and that's Phil Oakes's one about When I'm Gone. Do you know When I'm Gone? Phil Oakes writes a song
I've performed that song many times, and
I have.
It's a song that means a lot to me. First time I heard When I'm Gone by Phil Oakes. Look it up, guys, if you're interested. When I'm Gone, Phil Oakes. I was weeping like mad for the whole song, and also at a time when I was very frequently performing protest songs, that song is saying why you should sing protest songs.
Why you need protest songs,
yeah, and it's so brilliant. It's such an incredible song.
And I'll just to those who don't know it, the line runs, if I remember it, and you could correct me, Gareth. It's like the idea is, who's going to sing these songs when I'm gone? So I'd better sing them, or maybe no one's going to sing them when I'm gone. So I'd better sing them now. It's that kind of, that's the way they do it.
And it's almost like he's saying he's got these opinions and he can't say them when he's gone, so he's going to say them now.
Yes.
You know,
it's a lovely, but
amazing.
for what it's worth, is another, he's all great. So
I guess I'll have to do it
while I'm here.
I'll have to do it while I'm here. Yeah, I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. Yes, that's the repeated line. Amazing. And I've sang it in many different keys. I kept changing my mind what key to do it in.
Okay, we're half an hour in and you haven't got the song yet.
That's the only one I know very well. Incorporated into a theatre production. Oh, nice. Lovely. That's awesome. Yeah, these songs are really good for theatre. Yes. Robert Jordan created a bunch of folk songs in his books. That's good. Yeah. Well, so did Tolkien as well. Tolkien made loads of songs for the Hobbits, didn't he?
Okay. There's a lot of, Gareth, the thought has occurred to me, there's a lot of crossover between good books and music. I mean, Murakami's got the Norwegian Wood, and, I think there may be a subsequent episode to the series that started. By the way, I don't know how, I didn't get a chance to ask Gareth whether he was okay with the TomTom brand that I stuck on this.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
But the beauty of TomTom is I did a solo one a little while ago, and TomTom stood for This Old Man Talks on Music. Now tonight it's 2 old men stand on music, and it can even be 3 old men talk on music. So really
it works. Yeah, it's very versatile.
If we get 4, then we're buggered. But
so Margaret found out who the 3 guys were: Robbie O'Connell,
yes,
Jimmy Keane, and Mike Maloney. Yeah. Mick Maloney. Mick Maloney's from the Chieftains, isn't he?
Chieftains, yeah.
And I think Jimmy Keane might be as well.
If you listen to that song, Margaret, that is the definitive song, because it's all the lyrics are actually direct quotes from the letters. They haven't deviated at all. It's literally a song based on the letters, but it tells 3 generations of family leaving Ireland and going to America, and what happens. It's very, very, very poignant. And of course, it's in that beautiful Irish folk stuff. I mean, Gareth, I don't know, I'm assuming your first love is English folk. But I don't have a sort of home ground advantage in any of these turfs.
No, the only thing that the English folk thing, it does kind of grate on me, the fact that people think, oh, that's Irish folk or that's Scottish folk, and don't realise that what they're listening to is English folk. So they forget that we, if they had clearly it's the same country, we clearly had that tradition as well. But I don't really care what I'm listening to, because I can enjoy, because it's the same thing. If you had Catherine Tickle performing something on the Northumbrian pipes, it would sound like the O'Alian pipes from Ireland. It's one landmass.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've tried in my 10 selected to be a little bit sort of global in my scope. I don't know if I've succeeded, but I mean, there's so much good music. But anyway.
I know, I'm still getting through these. I'm trying to respect the people that are here, because they're
how far behind are we in the comments, Gareth? I can't see the comments in my
not that far. Yeah, we are actually quite far. Let me just steam through them, because I think it's always important for it. So Shelf of Steam wrote The Hills of Tangico for the Wheel of Time TV show. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I believe that's called Fronting Mike, knowing a few chords. Newsies is a musical. Oh, it's a musical.
Oh, my kids will know it.
I have heard her talk about it before, and I think last time I was like, what's that? Yeah, but she does like Newsies, yeah. Our ability to find music isn't being spoon-fed to us. The trouble is we want everything spoon-fed to us, so we're losing the ability to just research in general.
The other thing that has changed just on that subject is that when I was a kid, the sources of listening to music were quite limited, so a lot of you ended up hearing the same things. So a new piece of music suddenly got critical mass. Today, it's so personalized. Gareth's got his Spotify, I've got mine, and we're listening to different. It's much harder for a new thing to break through today.
No, it's true. That's a really good point about lots of art forms. Billy Strings, is bluegrass a form of folk music? Absolutely. It's like the earliest form of country music. But Billy Strings, I would suggest, is kind of progressive in the way he does bluegrass, because he incorporates like funny time signatures and all sorts of really clever stuff, which you wouldn't really get. Bluegrass tends to be quite basic, that whole 3-chord trick thing. So Billy Strings is much fancier than that. He's an amazing performer. But he's really good.
But also, don't worry about the genre boundaries. If you like it, you like it. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yacht rock. Yacht rock is a derogatory term for posh people doing recordings, really, isn't it?
I think very different now. I'm going to defend prog rock, because yacht rock to me is Christopher Cross. Do you remember Christopher Cross?
Yeah. Yacht rock's kind of safe, gentle, not particularly challenging AOR, isn't it? Really.
Whereas prog rock is music in 17 time, and
a million different genres at once, and 10-minute drum solo.
Mike Oldfield.
It is very middle class, but it's not yacht rock, I don't think. In 1961, Bob Dylan, at age 19, came to New Jersey to visit Woody Guthrie in the hospital. As a great recreation of that scene in the Timothy Chalamet film. It's really good.
Dylan was a complete, he almost worshipped Guthrie, because Guthrie, I think, was doing what Dylan wanted to do with his life.
What a moment, Pat. A big Woody Guthrie fan. I haven't got it in my list of 10, but I've got a biography of Woody Guthrie that I need to read. It's called Bound for Glory.
Yes. I've actually seen the film. They made a film out of that with David Carradine as Woody Guthrie. It's a good film. It's a good story.
Guthrie told Dylan to work on his voice. He didn't need to. Everyone else covered his songs for him.
I love Dylan's voice. I will defend Dylan's voice to the
death. Nice. So Pat's a big Dylan fan. I love that. Dylan visited Guthrie at a state psychiatric hospital, and I did my internship at the same hospital. That's awesome.
Wow.
Many years later. That's cool, though. I like that.
Yeah, nice to know. Eh? You stood in the foots of ghosts, eh?
That's awesome.
Wonderful. Just before he died, I think.
Towards the end. I think I've heard Gareth's version of that one, but not the original. Of which one? Can't see where it is. I've got. There's a. I think I did show Margaret my version of Masters of War, which is
Margaret, the coffee level's going down.
That's my biggest hit on YouTube. That is. It's got 15,000 views, which is really nice. And someone on the comments said this is better than Eddie Vedder's version. I said I'll take that. Thank you very much. What about Terry Jack's Seasons in the Sun? That was a big song. Yeah, that's a great song.
I like it, but it's more pop than folk.
It's a good song though.
Lovely song.
We had joy. Very famous hospital. He had Huntington's disease. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's where you met him.
Yep.
Yeah. Set of congas, is that? Was that coffee? So I've moved on.
It's the Tom, Gareth. That's what she's drawing.
Tom.
Well,
I knew it was Huntington's, and he was in a. Yeah, it's best. I mean, in those days, I guess it was a bit more random where they put people. That's where Dylan met him. Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Where am I? There I am. Makes sense. Mike was just talking about how Mantell was misdiagnosed too.
Yeah. I've just read Hilary Mantel's book.
Oh, Hilary Mantel.
She was misdiagnosed as a youngster in her early 20s, I think, where I can't remember the fancy name of the disease she had, but it was misdiagnosed as psychiatric, whereas in fact it had nothing to do with psychiatric at all, and it left her with a deep distrust of doctors, and a lot of pain through her life, which is channeled into the books. A lot of people, I think it's similar to music. A lot of really, really powerful music comes from pain. I've once had a debate, and it's probably not the right mood for this chat, as to how much music actually comes from happy feelings. Other than Cliff Richard.
This might be a bit too personal, but we keep saying to my son, you need to take your antidepressant pills. And he says, "No, I can't write music if I do that."
Yeah.
So he doesn't take his pills because he can write songs better. He's in an emo band, and yeah.
In fact, it's probably true
his
of a
lyrics
lot.
are very depressing.
I mean, Vincent Van Gogh wasn't a sort of live in the party up type of guy, you know.
Here we go. Yeah, good music have good books have music. Black Tongue Thief has a pub song called Bully Boy. The author brought it in a real singer to perform it on the audiobook. That's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there might be a follow-up session on this, Gareth. It is books, the crossover between books about music and music about books, because there's both.
The list is endless.
Yeah, there's songs written about books and there's books written about songs. So,
This Train is Bound for Glory. We're back in March on the rails. Your version of When I'm Gone. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if I've put that anywhere, but I was going to perform it for the patrons actually, so I will do that at some point. Phil Oakes. That's OCHS.
OCHS, yeah. OCHS. It's a funny surname.
Phil Oakes. I'm at the end now.
Phil Oakes. Yeah, that's it. Gosh, you're very quick at this, Margaret. You're trigger happy.
Endometriosis.
Yeah, it's not a fun disease if you Google it.
As diseases go.
No, it's particularly rough.
All right. So, do you want to pick your first album?
Yeah.
We'll start talking about the albums.
Let's do that. My first pick is from the USA, which I think is and it's also probably in Gareth's terms testing the boundaries of folk genre, because it was at a point in the early 60s. It's an album from 1964 where, again, folk music was becoming popular, as in the charts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the whole line
became very fashionable. Yeah.
Anyway,
which is why folk rock was able to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm picking an album by Simon and Garfunkel, but I'm not picking the one that maybe most people would pick, one of the big ones. I'm picking their debut album, which is called Bleecker Street. Which is called Wednesday Morning 3 a.m. That's the name of the album. The song on it that I'm picking is Bleecker Street. Now, if I spend just a second on Simon and Garfunkel, because everybody's heard of them, but maybe what they don't know is that they started life as Tom and Jerry. And Tom and Jerry was a sort of act that copied the music of the Everly Brothers. And they had minor sort of localized success, but they didn't trouble the charts or record deals or anything like that. And eventually, Paul Simon wrote this album. A lot of the songs on this album are actually covers. It's the sort of end of Simon and Garfunkel's covering era. Bob Dylan's Times They Are A-Changing is on there, which, of course, is a stunning song. Go Tell It on the Mountain is on there, and there's another link back to James Baldwin's book. You know, I recently read that book, stunning book. There's a lot of traditional stuff. There's a song on there called Benedictus, which is literally from the sort of, I'm going to show my ignorance, but I think it's a Latin mass. It's one of those sort of things from ancient.
It's early music, isn't it, that one? Yeah,
certainly. And again, Paul Simon takes perhaps a few liberties with it, but it's still an absolutely beautiful thing. But the reason I picked the song Bleecker Street, which is the third track on the album, is Bleecker Street is in the heart of Greenwich Village in New York. And that is, in my view, the sort of birthplace, if you like, of this whole folk revolution in the late 60s that suddenly became popular and took off. And the interesting story is that Simon and Garfunkel got together, having decided Tom and Jerry was the wrong look. They then got together and made this debut album, which didn't trouble the charts. It was quite muted, the reaction. Art Garfunkel went back to school to study architecture, which is why he wrote later there's a song about Frank Lloyd Wright. But Paul Simon decided to give it up in the States, and he moved across to the UK to try his luck in the UK folk gigs, which is where he met Martin Carthy, who was playing Scarborough Fair. And Gareth knows the story better than me, but there's some debate about whether McCarthy taught him the song or whether Simon simply appropriated the song.
It was a big controversy in the folk world. They made up, but
it's quite interesting though, because
he wasn't happy Martin Carthy wasn't happy about it.
Folk music itself has this sort of license to steal, doesn't it? Because I mean, Bob Dylan stole everything. Nothing Dylan used was sort of raw, never seen before. It was all derived from the music that he was hearing, like Girl from the North Country that we've looked at before. It's all based on old folk tunes that are reworked and updated. And I've always thought that's okay within the folk idiom, because that's
I think it's like that traditional arranged by that he would have wanted. You know, it's
not that you mustn't play it. It's that you should give credit for where it came from.
Yeah, and obviously it was huge, and Martin Carthy was not huge.
And never would be, I would argue. See, that's the difference where I argue about folk versus pop in terms of commercialization. I'm not saying it's fair, but I think
Scarborough Fair is still a folk song, even if it was a big hit.
Yeah,
it's definitely.
But the only reason it's a big hit is that they put it on a pop record that became big. Do you know what I mean? If Simon
All Around My Hat.
Yeah,
is from a folk band. It's a folk song. It's a folk band. They didn't do anything except folk stuff, and they had.
Did they write All Around My Hat?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a modern folk song. It's not a traditional song. Yeah. It was produced by Mike Batt, who did the Wombles.
Yes.
And some members of Steel Eye Span were in the Wombles costumes on top of the Pops.
I do remember that
as a favour to Mike Batt, which I think is hilarious. Anyway, So carry on talking about. Talk about Paul Simon, please. Yeah.
I wanted to explain as well why the song Bleecker Street is so special to me on this album. I love the whole album, but Bleecker Street is, if I read just the first sort of 4 lines of the song, it's the beginning of my relationship with Paul Simon as I think the world's best lyricist, and I'm being bold to say that. I think he's better than Dylan. Dylan's fantastic, but I agree. Paul Simon has a skill where the words he chooses are part of the total musical arrangement of the song, in terms of their rhythm. If you look at a line like "Don't I Know You from the Cinematographer's Party," which comes from "You Can Call Me Al," the only reason those words are used is to create the right rhythm at that moment in the line. And there's no one on the planet that manages lyrics as well as Simon does, both to fit the musical arrangement and at the same time tell a stunningly good story. It's a combination I've never seen anyone else do better. Anyway, the opening lines of the song is, "Fog's rolling in off the East River bank. Like a shroud, it covers Bleecker Street. It fills the alleys where men sleep. It hides the shepherd from the sheep. Voices leak from a sad cafe. Smiling faces try to understand. I saw a shadow touch a shadow's hand on Bleecker Street." I mean, it's like I'm getting goosebumps just reading it, and then you haven't even heard the music. I mean, when you hear this acoustic, it's Paul Simon on one guitar with 2 voices, him and Garfunkel. Garfunkel didn't play instruments.
No.
And the thing I love about this is that I actually prefer this first unproduced, raw, folky acoustic Simon and Garfunkel. I mean, I love everything they did later, Mrs. Robinson. It's all great, but it did get very poppy. It drifted strongly in the direction of poppy, and it lost some of the pure goosebumps that I get when I listen to proper acoustic folk. So that's why I chose it. Let me. I could talk all night about this particular song. Never mind this album, but let me hand back.
Okay, so
that's my first.
Yeah, I'll pick my first one, and it does relate to what you said because it is Martin Carthy, and I'm looking quickly. I think this is the only traditional English album. Yes, it's the only English traditional one. So a lot of the others are modern folk stuff or folk adjacent stuff, to be fair, on a couple of them. But this is a man. Martin Carthy he's still around. I saw him actually 2 years ago. He's still playing. He's a little slower. Yeah. And I said to Mike earlier that I supported him as well, which is mad. So I've seen him a number of times, and he is. I don't know if he's a sir yet, but he might be. But he's certainly very respected, and he he kind of reinvented how the guitar was played, which is what Paul Simon was influenced by. But the way he plays the folk melodies and sings on top of sings the melody while he's playing the melody, nobody else does that in the same way. And he's got the bass line running on from his thumb, and it's just really, really clever. And there's this album in particular, Rite of Passage, has got some amazing songs on it. They're all traditional songs, but there's such great stories. Oh, and not all traditional songs. There's a great song by Leon Rosselson called "The Ant and the Grasshopper."
Yeah,
it's such a fantastic song. And what's amazing is that when I met Leon Rosselson when I went to see him, and I spoke to him, and I was talking about "The Ant and Grasshopper," what a great song it was. And he says, "Yeah, I know, and I don't understand why people have the sympathy for the ant, and it's the grasshopper. I'm supposed to be writing sympathy for the grasshopper." But if you listen to the music, it's not really a surprise because of there's not enough pathos in the song. It's just telling a story, but it's such a brilliant song. And it is kind of like very gentle politics, but it's really about how you live and how you save and how you scrimp and how you're a little bit more disadvantaged if you're the grasshopper and all that. But Bill Norrie, which is the one on the playlist, is such a gorgeous folk song. It is a love song, and it is about infidelity, but the way he plays it and the way he sings it is just compelling, like utterly compelling. And Martin Carthy is such a fascinating man. And his second album is the album that's got Scarborough Fair on it.
right.
But his first album is really good. Trees That Grow So High is brilliant. And there's a great song that my wife's favorite folk song is Sauvé. Do you know Sauvé?
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's about the highwaywoman who she dresses herself as a highwayman so that she can basically test her boyfriend to see if he would give up the ring that she gave him. And it's just a brilliant classic trad kind of story. So Sauvé, he does that with Dave Swarbrick. So he did lots of albums with Dave Swarbrick, the two of them with him on fiddle. So obviously Swarbrick was from Fairball Convention. But yeah, the first few albums by Mike Gareth did on his own, and several after that. But there was a bit in the middle where Dave Swarbrick was his partner. But yeah, that album's amazing. So definitely recommend you give Martin Carthy a go. It's quite a distinctive voice. You might not be a massive fan of his voice, but his guitar playing is just incredible.
He is also the sort of, I mean, he married and then produced kids and created a sort of a folk dynasty.
Yeah, he married Norma Waterston, and Norma Waterston, the Watersons had an act anyway that he joined, and he met her because he played with them for a bit. And obviously Eliza Carthy is their daughter.
Yeah, I haven't yet found anyone in that dynasty that isn't stunningly good. I mean, it's genetics, I suppose, but it's they are a beautiful. It's just a rabbit hole. You can go down at Waterston Carthy. There's all kinds of permutations of bands within them. I'm trying to remember. There's one called Blue Murder. It's just endless.
Let's catch up with the things.
Yeah,
we'll get lost if we don't do it.
Point, Gareth. As we go through, we must check chats before we move off each album.
Yeah. That's what I do with the films.
Otherwise we'll...
You mentioned that could put some music. I'm beginning to find where we were. There he goes. Thank you, Margaret. Margaret says we're doing good, which is good. Is this an open panel? So I answered that. I interpreted that as maybe you asking if you could suggest albums as well. And please do. That's what I said.
Yeah. Please. Songs, albums.
Yeah. So if you want to do that, please do. Well, although I can lost where I am. I was just asking if your panel was able to join, just because I prefer talking in person. Oh. To be on screen, that gets a bit chaotic. No, but please do comment. The Red Lion was a pub in Bleecker I used to visit in the 90s. Yeah. Any opinion on the Mamas and Papas? I like Mamas and Papas. I haven't heard that many songs, to be fair, but I like them.
Yeah, I think they were, again, a little bit like Peter, Paul and Mary. They were the step from folk into pop. But I mean, the Mamas and the Papas, once you listen to those harmony, I have to say I'm a sucker for harmony.
Yeah, me too.
Once you get 3 or 4, and normally guys and girls together, singing harmony, that's just beautiful. It doesn't really matter to me whether it's technically folk or technically pop. It's just stunning. I think what they created in the Mamas and Papas is
And Mama Cass was she used to leave her house open for people to come around, and she's the reason why Crosby, Stills and Nash met each other, and they all met each other thanks to Mama Cass. Yeah, because they were in one of her sort of gatherings. So she's a really popular person. Don't know much beyond a few songs. This is probably about what were we talking about? This might be still about Buffalo Springfield, actually. Not sure. Oh no, this might be some. No, this might be Simon and Garfunkel, actually. We just came up with
anyone who likes anything of Simon and Garfunkel, there are hundreds of little box sets you can get of the whole lot. They only had about 6 or 7 albums. And you can get in a double CD type of box thing. You can get the whole lot, and that's I would say to people, if you like anything they do, you'll probably like everything they do. I
think she might be talking about Crosby, Stills and Nash. To be fair, you have to clarify that. Yeah, I saw Bob Dylan and Paul Simon concert together. Nice.
Okay, now I'm really jealous, Pat. I'm really.
I was saying how you fight Forrest Gump.
But perhaps while we're talking, because of course I feel like an oppressed minority here, because this audience I think is largely either UK or US, and I'm sitting here at the tip of Africa, and very few of these artists come here. But I did have 5 years working in Holland, during which time I saw Jethro Tull twice, of course. I saw Bob Dylan at the Heineken in Amsterdam, and I saw Simon and Garfunkel on what I called the pensioners tour. They did one more around Europe before they quit, and before Garfunkel lost his voice. And it was, to me, that's the only time I ever saw them. They played everything you can imagine. The opening act in support of them was the Everly Brothers, the two of them.
That's amazing.
And when the Everly Brothers had finished and it was crossover time, Simon and Garfunkel joined the Everly Brothers, the 4 of them, and they sang "Wake Up Little Susie" together. It was like, it was just a now I can die, I'm happy now.
Yeah. Simon and Garfunkel, huge influence on me, and I've never seen them. I've never seen either of them.
Okay, I think Simon and Garfunkel have a huge influence on almost anyone who learned to play guitar. Because these are the songs you hear, and they were so ubiquitous on the radio. I never find anyone who doesn't know who Simon and Garfunkel at least were, whereas that's not true of many other ones.
Yeah, sadly, I'm introducing them to my students for the first time. So there is.
That's true, because they're fading away. Paul Simon put out an album less than 2 years ago. Stunning.
Yeah.
It's a sort of very spiritual type of album, but it's really, really lovely. Oh, so that MBE.
Mike Carthy's, Mike Carthy's got an MBE, so I knew that he had some kind of title.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's about Mums and Papas. Mums and Papas. Yeah. I don't think they tend to get the same couple of songs repeated.
I think they probably had two massive hits. Monday Morning is the one that jumps to my head immediately because I can hear it. Monday morning, da 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 da.
Monday, I think it's good. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Monday.
Yeah. But let's go to your second album. Your second choice.
My second album. Okay, and again, as I'm sure will happen a lot tonight, this crossover, because you were talking about Martin Swarbrick, the fiddler, who was a member of Fairport Convention, and in fact, Fairport Convention is my second choice.
There you go.
So now I've moved from America back to England, and I'm choosing an album by Fairport Convention. 1969, their 4th album is called Liege and Leaf.
Liege and Leaf, yeah. That was when they first got proper folky, wasn't it?
Yeah, it probably needs some spelling. Liege is the Liege, and Leaf is Lief. So I think it's ye olde Englishy, if that's the right way to describe it. But the point about this album is that it's almost universally accepted as the seminal first album that created the whole subgenre, if you like, of British folk rock, because it is entirely rooted in traditional music, but the arrangements of the music are giving a nod to what's happening in 1969, which is the whole, the beat groups and the change into rock. We've mentioned Dave Swarbrick, of course. The original band lineup had a female singer called Judy Dibble who left, and she was replaced by Sandy Denny. Now, Sandy Denny is often cited as the best voice in the whole of English folk music. Now, again, Gareth, you can tell me whether you have a different view, but
I love Sandy Denny's voice.
You'll certainly have heard that claim.
Yeah.
people talk about her as
I
royalty.
liked her solo albums. I really like.
Yeah, and she also went on. Interestingly, she went on to work with the Strawbs, who I'm particularly fond of. I love the Strawbs,
and then she formed Fotheringay as well,
which I also love. The song "Fotheringay" is one of my favorite folk songs of all time. It's just endlessly beautiful. But we haven't even got halfway through. I mean, in this band were people like Ian Matthews, who went on to create Matthews Southern Comfort, who originally wrote the song the Woodstock. Okay,
but he'd left by the time Legion Leaf happened.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. And Richard.
Did you just say he wrote Woodstock?
He formed the band Matthews Southern Comfort. I did say that, but I misspoke. He didn't write it, but he had the commercial hit with it.
Yeah, it's only because you can't diss Joni Mitchell wrote it. Joni Mitchell was a goddess.
Yes. I agree with you on that. I misspoke. But his band Matthews Southern Comfort was the one that had the pop hit with Woodstock.
It was.
Again, my point about the difference between folk and pop is often about the commercial success. But the other thing I need to mention, I haven't even mentioned Richard Thompson. I'm not going to talk about Richard Thompson because I'm sure Gareth will want to talk about Richard Thompson.
He's on my list.
Let's just say Richard Thompson is a folk god. End of story.
He's an absolute genius.
If I could wave a wand and watch one person live in the folk genre, it would probably be him. He's an absolute genius. And the other, there's three more names I want to cite because there's three members of Fairport Convention who've all done time with Jethro Tull. And that is Dave Pegg, who's the bass guitarist of Fairport. He played for an extended period of time, must have been 4 or 5 years, as the bass guitarist for Jethro Tull. And then two of their drummers, Dave Maddox and Jerry Conway, who were both drummers at various times in Fairport and had both done duty with Jethro Tull. So that's just a fondness I have. But in terms of the music, the song I've chosen is, I think it's the Richard Thompson song, Crazy Man Michael, because Crazy Man Michael to me is just an incredibly beautiful capturing of Richard Thompson, if you need to know how good a songwriter he is, but also this, I think it's the last song on the album, and it sort of rounds off an album that has been a lot. I think I'm right in saying most of the album is traditional. If I look at Reynardine,
yeah.
The Lark in the Morning, the Rakish Paddy, these are all traditional songs that
and a lot of them are instrumental as well.
Yeah, and they're giving it a folk rock treatment, which was the innovative thing. But then at the end, you've got Tamlin, which I think they wrote. I don't think Tamlin is traditional, but I'm not sure. And then Crazy Man Michael, I'm pretty sure was a Richard Thompson song. Gareth, I think it was. So anyway, I mean, this band is. We seem to have lost Gareth's face.
So can you hear me?
I'll carry on as long as you can hear us. That's fine. But Legion Leaf is, as I say, recognized as the seminal moment where folk rock started. This particular album has been, BBC run a folk awards ceremony every year to recognize folk music, and that folk awards process has granted this album as the most influential folk album of all time. That's the award it won. And in addition to that, the band won a Lifetime Achievement Award. So we're talking again, a band and an album that made a deep impression on the journey of folk music. And the only other thing I'd mention in passing about Fairport is, if what do you do if you can't get enough gigs? You start your own festival. So they've set up. Yeah. I mean, I've been
to Cropredy once. I've only been once, but it was amazing. Yeah, and they do a massive 4-hour set. But yeah,
and again, I think obviously with the crossover to Jethro Tull, it's very often that you'll find members of Jethro Tull popping up at Cropredy Festival and playing Tull songs with Fairport, which is
and you always get a Richard Thompson set as well. When I went to Cropredy that particular year, the surprise guest, because there's always a surprise guest, was Robert Plant. And he came on and he did a bunch of songs in the big Fairport set. Yeah. So that's really good. This will probably be the last time I'll name drop, but I can't help it. I supported Dave Pegg a few times. And there's one of my favorite videos on YouTube is us doing The Wait. And Dave Pegg is singing a harmony and he's sitting next to a keyboard. So there's a great version of The Wait, and he's a lovely guy, Dave Pegg.
He is, I believe.
Yeah, I did a gig with him 3 times, one was the Bob Dylan project, one was twice it was the Bob Dylan project, and he was the bass player, and then another one was a different project he was doing. But yeah,
all right.
So check
the comments and then over to you.
Yeah, check the comments. Okay, I think we've lost Margaret.
Oh dear.
Yeah, she's set to go away. Yeah, actually, that's the only comment we've got. So Margaret's saying, I'm glad I got through the number 1 picks. Got to go plug some holes where rodents are getting in. That's not good. Good luck with that.
Someone needs to write a folk song about that.
That sounds like that's an endless problem. That can be horrible. So yeah, she'll be back. That's cool.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, I broke my own rule on this one because I couldn't help it, because it's literally probably one in my top 3 albums of all time, and it does fit the fact that all of the songs on the album are traditional songs. But I was kind of hoping to do another one of these chats about world music, but it's the Buena Vista Social Club album, the first one that was released on World Circuit Records, which is just called Buena Vista Social Club. There was tons of them released because there'd be some that was focused on Ruben Gonzalez or Abraham Ferrer or certain people that were in the band, Compo Segundo, Omar Portuondo. But this was the first one, Ry Cooder's incredible project, where he got these people together. The average age of the members were 80, and some of them didn't survive that many years afterwards. So it's an absolute beautiful capture of this moment where these people that were legends in Cuba played this Afro-Cuban stuff together, and it's just an absolute masterpiece. The album's incredible. Every single moment on the album is incredible. Do you know the album?
I do. Oh, very well. I absolutely adore the album. I think it's one of those moments that's just special, where, as you say, something that was local suddenly went global. It's like a viral moment, and I think that's why all the other albums followed, because people couldn't believe the explosion of enthusiasm for this music. Ironically, just today, driving in the car, I was listening to a podcast about music, and they started talking about this album. That's the only reason I can sort of drop this information, that the number of records it sold was 8 million.
Wow, that's brilliant. Awesome.
When I heard that, I thought, I'm going to remember that because I know it's on Gareth's list.
Yeah. I was working in a record shop at the time as well, and we were just churning them out. They were just constantly getting sold. People come in and go, "What's that Cuban one?" So I know what you want. It's this one. And
it's pretty impressive, given that most people listening to it don't understand a word of it.
It's
in a foreign language, but you can't help being moved.
It's interesting you say that, because one of the bugbears I've got about the UK, really, the UK is really bad for not accepting stuff that's sung in a different language. We moan about the Eurovision Song Contest. I don't know if you know much about the Eurovision Song Contest, but we don't normally do very well, and other countries do much better.
Putting it mildly.
But But people go on about it. Oh, it's political. But it's not political. It's cultural. All these other countries, they'll play the other countries' records on their radios, on the radio stations, and they become massive hits in Europe. We don't do that because we can't cope with the fact it's a different language. And I think that's so stupid. I'll listen to music in any language, but most people don't. Most of them turn it off, go, I don't know what they're talking about, and that's why, we're kind of separate.
Yeah, here in South Africa, we have 11 national languages. 11 languages. So we won't get far with that argument. But I agree with you. But there's a couple. I think there's more on this list coming that are not in English. So.
So
and
in fact, honestly,
it's not the last time we'll talk about Ry Cooder either. He pops up later too, but that guy's a genius.
Yeah, amazing. I'd love to see someone else. I'd love to see live. I've never seen him, and I'd love to see Ry Cooder.
I think it's fair to say I actually prefer his, what I'm going to call, world music experimentation to his own stuff. His own stuff's good. But I think when he drifts out and does the kind of stuff you just talked about on Buena Vista, it's peerless. It's absolutely he reminds me of someone like a David Attenborough, you know, going out and discovering in a new. Otherwise, we wouldn't know, you know.
It's finding these musicians in the wild.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Sounds very colonial.
Is it back to me then?
Yes, back to you.
Okay.
We're not getting any comments now, so you can crack on. There's only 2 people watching us.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's probably let's hope a few watching the replay. That's quite possible as well. Okay, I'm moving around again because this time I've landed in Ireland, and just in case it's not known, my genetic background is Irish and Scottish by ancestry, so I'm sort of covering both sides. But in Ireland, I've picked an album by a Scottish communist folk singer called Dick Gaughan. And am I saying that right? I think I'm saying that surname right, Gareth. I don't know if you know.
Dick Gaughan, yeah. I think they're going to go in the middle, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I used to struggle with that for years. I had no idea until I knew someone who was playing with him, and then they told me what it was.
The problem is, if you ask him, he's got such a deep accent, you're not going to be able to hear what he said anyway. This guy is entirely unique to me. He's got 18 albums, none of which I think have really troubled any major commercial success. But the album I've chosen is the one everybody picks from his, called Handful of Earth, from 1981. Folk Roots Fruits magazine, it was their album of the decade in the 80s. I actually met it because I've got a very good friend here in Durban who is an encyclopedia on music, and he wrote an article in the music magazine where he picked the best Irish, Scottish, and English folk albums of all time, one each. And this was his pick for Scotland. I'm saying Scotland. I'm getting, he's
Scottish. He is Scottish.
He is Scottish. The reason I'm confused is that his grandfather is an Irish fiddler. His grandmother is an Irish button accordion player, but his mom is a Highland Scottish singer who won awards for Gaelic singing. So he's a bit like me.
And his accent is very Scottish. He's definitely a Scottish man.
Yes, so it is confusing. And the actual song I've picked, which I think might be different from one you would have picked, Gareth, because they're all good. I mean, there isn't a bad song on this album at all. There's a couple of well-known songs before I tell you which one I've chosen, but of course you can see it in the playlist, so it's not a big secret. The last song on the album is called Both Sides of the Tweed, which is a stunning folk song about the wars between the various.
Scotland and England, I think. It's about trying to create peace between Scotland and England. Yeah,
and then of course he does a cover of Phil Colcliffe's Song for Ireland, which I first heard by Mary Black while I was driving around the Dingle Peninsula in Ireland. And that was just, I had to pull off the road. That was such a powerful moment. Anyway, the song I've chosen from him is Erin go Bra, which translated from Gaelic means Ireland forever, but it's used as a slight insult, I think, in terms of the Irish who were leaving Ireland because of the famine, arriving in places like England, and being seen as sort of, who the hell are these, a bit like the Italians as well, you know, it's sort of lesser. And I believe this phrase, Erin go Bra, was used as, if you listen to the lyrics of the song, it's sort of a derogatory term for the Irish. But it's a brilliant song by a brilliant musician. He played in Celt rock bands like Five Hand Reel, Clan Alba. But if I'm honest, Dick Gaughan with just his guitar is the way you want to hear Dick Gaughan, because his singing is very powerful. And I was reading a critic who said he can go from aching tenderness to high dudgeon of political rage in 2 lines. You know, he can just shift. But
it's got that bite in his voice when he's doing a political song.
The artistry of his playing is, I don't think I can think of a single guitarist, maybe Richard Thompson, but even there, boy, Dick Gaughan's actual technique of playing, to me, is just stunning. And sadly, he had a stroke in 2016, and he's less active now. But so that's the album, my choice, Handful of Earth, and the song is Erin go Bra.
Can I just make 2 comments about the album? So, The World Turns Upside Down. It's the first time I heard it was by him. I very quickly heard Billy Bragg's version. And then I started collecting versions of the song. At one point, I had about 11 versions of the song. You know, like the Oyster Band and Chumbawamba and all sorts of different people have done it. But The World Turned Upside Down is the cover I've performed the most by myself.
The Diggers.
In all the 30 years I've been playing, that's the song I've done the most by myself. So there are other songs that we've done as a band more, but yeah, I love that song and I've done it to death. And the Workers song, first time I heard the Workers song, after it finished, I was crying for a good 10 minutes, and it just absolutely kills me. And I played it to my son, and he had the same reaction. He was absolutely stunned, and he learned it as well. He knows how to play it, which is phenomenal, because it's not a very easy thing to play. So yeah, it's such an amazing album. It was going to be on my list, and I knocked it out. I took it off the list at the end.
Full disclosure, I heard Gareth was knocking it out, and we had an agreement, a gentleman's agreement, that we wouldn't duplicate. If one of us put it in, the other one wouldn't put it in, just so we didn't have it. And I was quite pleased when he had to drop it out because of something else, because this is probably one of my top 3 or 4 or 5 albums of all time. It's just that good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So have I got my? Do we go have a quick say hello to Julie? Hi, Julie.
Hello, Julie.
Hi. Awesome. Yeah, this is a very gentle, relaxed chat about folk music. Hi, Robert. Nice one.
Fantastic.
I think Robert just commented on something else I'd done earlier. I think. Nice to meet you again. Okay, so now I'm on
your number 3,
Richard Thompson. I might change the order I'm doing this.
Okay.
But no, I'll carry on as I've written it for now, because otherwise I get confused. But Richard Thompson, one of the big names in folk and rock and folk rock, and he has never really, because of his particular voice and because of the fact that what he writes is so steeped in a kind of a folk sensibility,
It's this folk commercial thing again. I'm telling you.
Well, I'd say that he's never had that commercial success. He's never been mainstream. And I think it's because he's always had that folk sound. So even when he's got really heavy, it's still been around the kind of a folk melody kind of thing. He's got that sort of sense to him. So he's definitely rock, but he's definitely folk rock. He's just such an incredible guitarist. He's an amazing songwriter, just one of the greatest songwriters ever. You could argue he's the best songwriter in the country. Some of his songs, some of his lyrics are insane. And this album doesn't have Beeswing on it.
Yeah,
but I'd recommend anyone to listen to Beeswing and not completely fall in love with it.
You should just mention Beeswing is the song he wrote about Annie Briggs, the folk singer. Annie Briggs. I don't know if he had a relationship with Annie Briggs, but certainly they were contemporaries in the folk scene, and she was a very wild woman, which you can Google. I'm not going to go off down a rabbit hole, but she was an amazing story and one of the best singing voices in the whole of English folk music. Unbelievable. And he wrote Beeswing about her. It's her that he's writing about, and it has to be one of the top 10 folk songs of all time. It's just
it's on the album Mirror Blue, which I almost chose. I do think that album is really good as well, but Rumour and Sigh is the one I've gone for. Rumour and Sigh. Weirdly, he spelled Rumour the American way. I don't really know what he's doing there. He's trying to get the American market. Commercial. Commercial success. But sadly, it didn't happen anyway. Although, no, to be fair, I mean, out of all the folkies, he has probably had more success than a lot of them, but it's still not been mainstream success. I'd say, and the man on the street has never heard of him, and none of my students would have heard of him. And it's an actual crime, because he's such a great songwriter and such a great guitarist. This album does include the big song that everybody knows who do know him, which is the 1952 Vincent Black Lightning song, which is an amazing story. It's great storytelling. But to be fair, I just love I Feel So Good. I'm Going to Break Somebody's Heart Tonight. It's such a great song. And Misunderstood is on there, which I have performed many times. There's so many great songs on the album. So yeah, Rumour and Sigh is the one I would choose, but I could have chosen about 6 of his albums. I think he got better as he went along. The first couple of albums I don't think are that great, solo albums. Some of the albums he did with Linda, his then wife, are good, but he's at his best, I think, when he's in this period where he's mixed in the really scorching electric guitar, where he plays like nobody else with the folk melodies and the great lyrics.
I find that amazing. I mean, one of the things that appeals to me about Jethro Tull, for example, is the fact that they can do gentle acoustic and balls to the wall rock music in the space of, and Richard is the same. I'm astounded that the same guy wrote Beeswing and then one of my favorite heavy music songs of his, Dad's Gonna Kill Me. Do you know
Dad's Gonna Kill Me? Yeah. It's amazing.
Dad's Gonna Kill Me, and I have to explain it to anyone who doesn't know. The song's called Dad's Gonna Kill Me, but Dad is not a father. Dad is Baghdad. It's a song about the Iraqi war.
And every single line is from something that he heard someone that was fighting there say. Every single line, which I think is really, really cool.
Going into the Iraqi war, and it's that dad, as in Baghdad, that's what's going to kill you. And it's just masterful.
And it's like, and he keeps repeating the line, "Nobody wants me here. Nobody wants me here." It's such a great song.
Powerful stuff. But to get that from the same guy who wrote Beeswing, which is the most delicate, acoustic, picking, gentle song about an enigmatic female folk singer. I mean, it's just, he's a master. He's a complete master.
He really is. And his lead playing is insane. You know, like he does these incredible solos on the loud songs. He doesn't really do so, because on the quiet songs he's usually playing all the parts on one guitar. But when he's got the rock band, you know.
Do you know that he put out I think it's a little box set, but a couple of CDs. I'm going to forget the title, but you'll recognize it. Something about 1,000 years of music.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. I went to see the concert of it as well. Brilliant.
Oh, wow. Okay. Can I hate you a little bit, Gareth?
I've seen him about, I don't know, a dozen times.
I've seen him exactly 0 times, and that's a sadness. But what struck me about that is, I mean, when I was growing up, I was raised on Gilbert and Sullivan musicals. I'm sorry, Margaret's not here because she likes the musicals.
Yeah, she likes them. Yeah.
But on that disc where he does the 1,000 Years of Music, not only does he do a Britney Spears cover absolutely brilliantly, he also does the Mikado from Gilbert and Sullivan on one acoustic guitar. It's just
I love the early tracks on that recording, the ones that when he does the early music. I love that.
Yeah. Summer is a coming in and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It's just a really good project. He's an amazing man.
But I think that recording, maybe more than the others, sort of shows you so that no one can miss it, that this guy is just off the charts gifted at crafting a guitar. He can make that guitar do anything at all. You know, it's an experience. Anyway.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll get to the comments because we've got a few new people, which is nice. So Aaron's here. Hi, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron.
Missed most of this. So hopefully stick around and watch the replay.
Can I tell you a secret? You haven't missed most of it. We're only on number 3.
That's true. We've been talking for an hour and a half and we spoke loads and loads just about music in general. So we had to clarify some things at the beginning. And lots of people commenting, which is great. Nice to see you, Aaron. Karen. Hi, Karen. The Mamas and Papas rock, especially Mama. Yeah, Mama Cass was awesome. The Mamas and Papas rock. David Crosby had a really close relationship with her, which I love that. Has anyone seen the Muppets? And she's mentioned the Muppets. So Karen, I don't know how well you know me, but I absolutely adore the Muppets. And actually, the first time I saw and heard, for what it's worth, was the Muppets version. And these hunters are looking at there's like the animals are going, "Hey, children, what's that sound?" And then they'll hide, and then the hunters will come along to try and shoot them. It's a great sketch. That was the first time I ever heard the song, and then obviously heard it properly from Buffalo Springfield. But although I think the first time I heard it was when CSN did it, to be fair. But amazing. Yeah, nice, lovely mention of the Muppets. More of that. Counting down to 1.
No, we started at 1 and we're on 3. We were doing it one each one, so we've done 6 songs.
So your turn for your 4th one.
Right. Yes. Now my 4th one, I'm still in Scotland, and I'm going to pick what I think is you were talking about Thompson being the best songwriter in England. I think this guy might be the best songwriter in Scotland, and that's Dougie MacLean. Dougie MacLean, the album I've picked is, I'm afraid, called The Essential Dougie MacLean. I don't know if it's picking a great it's a bit of a
cheater.
But the point is, there are about 4 or 5 of his songs that are so good that you've got to get an album that's got all of them on it, you know. I actually discovered him.
I should have chosen a 3-disc box set of Richard Thompson, shouldn't I? That's what I should have done.
I would have had look. We pretty much named half his albums anyway. We got but Dougie MacLean he's from Perthshire in Scotland. He's got over 30 LPs, but again, probably the cab driver won't know who he is. You know, he started life in the Tannahill Weavers, That was the band that he originally came from. And perhaps his closest thing to fame is that he wrote a song called Caledonia, which a lot of people consider the sort of unofficial anthem of Scotland. If you're not singing Flower of Scotland at Murrayfield, then you're probably singing Caledonia, because it's a beautiful, beautiful song that's been covered by Ronan Keaton, by Dolores Keane, by Kathy Mattea, if our American friends know her, by Cara Dillon, Mary Black. I mean, everyone has recorded Caledonia because it's just such a good song. But that's not the song I'm picking. He's got a song called Ready for the Storm, which is, I reckon if I was only allowed to take 10 songs to my desert island, this would be one of them. It's a beautiful, beautiful song about a sailor talking about the turmoil of being away and coming back, and disjointedness, and the fact that his family isn't with him. And it's just an absolutely incredible song. And I think the thing that where I'm a sucker is it's all based around a simple one acoustic guitar with unbelievably beautiful picking. Just rolling picking. If you don't know it, Gareth, you must listen to the playlist, because he has got, like Martin Carthy, he got an OBE for his services to music, and he got a Lifetime Achievement Award from the BBC Folk Awards in 2013. So I would strongly argue, depending on how you define Dick Gaughan, of course, although Gaughan's less of a writer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's more of an interpreter.
Then I'm much more confident to say Dougie MacLean, I would argue with anyone, is Scotland's finest singer-songwriter over many years and 30 albums. But yeah, so that's my choice.
Awesome. We haven't got any more comments, so I will go to my one. My number 4. Yeah. I'm going to keep it in the order I've written it down for a minute.
But then I'm worried that you've missed one. If you're doing in the order, in my list that you gave me, you had Martin Carthy, then Buena Vista Social Club, and then you had somebody else, and then Richard Thompson. So just check yourself.
I don't want this bit of paper. That's not the thing. So it might be because I sent it to you in a funny order. But I'm now going to pick. Yeah. I'm going to pick one of my all-time favorite songwriters. She's amazing. Don't know if this is Is this the person you're thinking of? She's amazing. Is she the only woman on the list? She can't be the only woman. Sure. No, she's not the only woman.
No, she's not.
She's done about 40 albums, and she has managed her career since she was 20. She left home when she was 18 and went on the road, and then formed her own record label when she was like 22, I think it was. And then she influenced Prince to take Warner Brothers to court, because he was like, well, she's doing that, I need to do that. And he got to perform on one of his songs, and she so there's a bit of an association with Prince as well. But she's an absolutely amazing woman, Ani DeFranco. And the album, I could have picked loads of her albums, but the first one that I heard, the one that I absolutely adore, is called Out of Range. And it was the track Out of Range was on a free CD that was part of the Folk Roots magazine.
I
used to get that every month, and now and again they put a CD of like new artists, and Out of Range was on it, and I was like, oh my god, this is insane. And I just played it to death, that track, over and over and over again. And then I bought the album, and I bought everything she did. I've seen her so many times, and she's just amazing. The first time she ever played over here, it was really funny, because she's got quite a lovely sort of sense of humor, and because it was the first time she'd ever played over here, she sort of went, this is a new one. And then she just started laughing, going, well, they're all new to you, aren't they? It was really funny. She couldn't stop herself laughing, because she was just trying to tell everyone it was a new song, and they're all new, aren't they? But there's some great things happening in her gigs. One gig, she started doing a song from this album called As Is. It's a great song called As Is. It's a really lovely, gentle thing. And she started doing it, and then she was like, oh my god, I can't think of the first few lines. And she said, does anyone know how this goes? And then some guy on the balcony went, I know this one. And then she stopped and said, all right, come down and play it. And then and this guy came down, and she started playing, and then she just gave him the mic, and he started singing it, and he got really into it. And she was just like, she was absolutely loving it. And then she was like getting the crowd to, give him a massive cheer and all that. It was so cool. It was a great moment. This random guy. Those
unscheduled moments are amazing. They are really.
Yeah, it was really cool. And Out of Range, the track is really cool. It's kind of a feminist song, but cloaked in a lot of poetry, but the one that's really direct, and it's, I think it's the one I put on the playlist, is called Letter to a John. And it's from a prostitute's point of view, and it's just got some incredible lines. It's you definitely need to hear that song. But she's just amazing, and she's a brilliant guitarist, and she plays in a really particular way as well.
She's got a very unique style, hasn't she? It's quite minimalist. She reminds me, in fact, of Billy Bragg. I see them as kindred spirits.
I can see that.
Sort of minimalist in terms of the arrangements and very powerful songs. I don't know all her stuff. I've probably got about 4 or 5 of her albums. But I think the one that always stands out for me from her is she does a beautiful version of Which Side Are You On?
Yes, she does.
Very powerful there, which is a song that lends itself to that Billy Bragg sort of,
Well, he did it as well, didn't he?
Yeah. But it's she's fantastic.
Amazing. So she's brilliant. So Ani DeFranco is my 5th choice. 1, 2, 3, 4th choice. So we got a comment from Karen. I'm very late with Mike. I listened to your whole playlist last night and loved it. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Karen's boned up on the playlist, which is fantastic.
That really makes me pleased that we had the thought and that we went through unbelievable technical challenges trying to get it. But if someone actually listened to the whole thing, I'm really touched.
Brilliant. All right, do you want to go to your number 5?
Yeah. My number 5, we're shifting over to Canada now. And I'm going to make a bold statement because I'm a huge fan of people like Gordon Lightfoot, but I think this guy is the best thing that Canada has produced in terms of real folk. There's people like Neil Young on folk, in terms of the definition.
Yeah, Joni Mitchell's Canadian, isn't she, as well? But I wouldn't call it.
Yeah. But this is Stan Rogers. Stan Rogers to me is a he's 100% folk from wall to wall. There's not an inch of it about him that's not folk. And again, Gareth may tell me I'm cheating, but I've actually chosen an album that's called The Very Best of Stan Rogers. I do have all his albums, if it's any consolation.
It's amazing.
But I can't. I'll tell you why I can't choose, because the song I've chosen is called The Northwest Passage, and it's about the whole Franklin expedition. It is unbelievably good songwriting and powerful. And maybe the thing that sets it apart, even from Stan Rogers' other work, is the male harmonies. These are tough, strong harmonies. There's nothing sweet. There's nothing gentle about it. It's the real sort of tough guy harmonies, but they are absolutely stunning. They'll knock you back against the wall. But the album, because it's a greatest hits type of album, there's songs on there. I think White Squall might be the one that you've seen me play. Gareth.
Yes, I've seen you do that. Yeah.
That's a Stan Rogers. I mean, his songs are just so good and so powerful. And the tragedy about Stan Rogers is that he died at the age of 33. He was on a plane, and the plane hadn't even taken off at Cincinnati Airport, and it exploded into a ball of fire. And he died. Yeah, we lost him at 33. His ashes are scattered off the shores of Nova Scotia. But the good news is, as so often happens, and might even be happening in your case, Gareth, his son Nathan has picked up the whatever you pick up. I don't know what you pick up, but
the mantle.
But, he's got exactly the same voice as his father. It's like goosebump uncanny when you close your eyes, and he sings all his dad's songs, but he's also doing a whole lot of new stuff of his own. So he's blazing a trail. But honestly, I mean, Canada boxes above its weight. Canada's given us Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen, Gordon Lightfoot. It goes on and on. But if you really
William Shatner is a great singer.
Moving swiftly on, it's probably the first moment of dissent we've had, Gareth. Anyway, so
tambourine man.
But if you like that real traditional folky stuff, all about working people's lives and fishing villages and the Great Lakes of Canada, I mean, he's just fantastic. Stan Rogers. That's my pick.
Isn't Stan Rogers Barrett's Privateers, right? He did
yes. Which is on this greatest. This album has got.
I love singing that.
There's Fogarty's Cove, which is a fantastic song. White Squall, I've mentioned, is one I cover. Barrett's Privateers, 45 Years, which is a love song. You were talking about folk song. 45 Years is about a song he wrote to his wife in the context of the fact that he's gigging on his own all around the place, and there's lots of these groupies throwing themselves at him, even in the folk world, apparently. and he's writing the song for his wife, who's been with him for 45 years. It's there's no dry eye in the house when you hear it. It's unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah.
But Walker's Passage is a real, tough guy expedition type of folk song. So anyway, I could go on.
When we get off this, I'll send you a link to me participating in a version of Barrett's Privateers. It was so cool. Fantastic. I love doing it. So we're on number 5.
Check the comments.
Oh yeah, check the comments. We haven't had any more comments.
Okay, no problem. I just don't want us to fall behind.
Yeah. So please feel free to comment if you'd like to. So I'm going with another one of my heroes, a songwriting hero, Canadian. This is the greatest songwriter that Canada's ever produced, possibly the best guitarist Canada's ever produced, Bruce Cockburn. This
is the one I thought you left out.
Okay. So Bruce Cockburn is it's just unbelievable. He's got a beautiful voice. He's got incredible songwriting ability. His lyrics are insane. He's an amazing guitarist. Very difficult to play his songs, and what he writes about is quite varied. But he is a political writer as much as he's anything else. And you learn from his songs because he does his research and he travels around the world and he gets inspirations from the people he meets. And one of his songs is called "The Mines of Mozambique," and that was because he was working with people who were trying to get rid of the mines. And he's just an incredible man altogether. And I've seen him 3 times. And the last time was a couple of years ago. And really sadly, he said, because I really wanted him to play If I Had a Rocket Launcher. And he said there's a few songs he can't play anymore because of his arthritis. And he's had to rework some of his songs. So, that's really gutting to know that someone's getting old like that. And he came on with 2 walking sticks as well.
Wow.
So, so he's definitely aging like that. But it was the 3rd time I saw him. So the other 2 times I've seen him, all 3 times were solo. So he has done full band, but he probably doesn't do international gigs with a full band. It's probably just the Canadian gigs that he does full band. But it's just an amazing man. So you could talk about anything, but the first album I discovered him with was Big Circumstance, which is essentially a rock album, but his first albums are very acoustic and very folky. But Big Circumstance is phenomenal. And I think he had a hit in Canada with If a Tree Falls, which is an amazing ecological song about the way we treat the environment. It's probably the best song about the way we treat the environment. But Radium Rain really hit me. That's kind of like a post-nuclear song. And I feel really strongly against nuclear weapons and nuclear energy. And Radium Rain is such a powerful song. It's a blues song, basically, but it's just amazing. But also there's a couple of really amazing love songs on it. Like, I Can't Feel Your Touch, or I Don't Feel Your Touch. Don't Feel Your Touch is one of them. And not really a love song, but a love song about the environment called Understanding Nothing. That's an amazing song. The lines in Understanding Nothing is all these years of thinking ending up like this in front of all this beauty, understanding nothing.
No, I love him to bits. In fact, when you were talking about him getting old and frail, it's poignant because when I saw you put him on the list, the song I wanted to highlight of his that is my favorite Bruce Cockburn song is the one about growing old, and that's called Pacing the Cage.
Pacing the Cage.
I play Pacing the Cage often because I think that it is the most beautifully captured song I've ever seen about someone recognizing the creeping years and their old frailty and assessing where they've been and what they've done and how, it's an unbelievably brilliantly crafted song. And again, musically, the acoustic playing is just off the charts. So
he's an insane guitarist.
I'm sad if he's in decline. I didn't realize he was in decline. I think he wrote this song probably before he was in real decline. because certainly the guitaring is
Oh
not.
yeah, Pace in the Cage is it's
stunning.
over 10 years old, I think.
Yeah. But it's reflective, and I mean, those of us who aren't as young as we used to be, it's a song that touches you. It's really, really, really powerful.
No, he's an amazing man, absolutely amazing man. So, yeah, Bruce Cockburn, really massively. He's totally unknown over here.
Yeah, this is the thing again. So many of these folk artists are so good, and yet commercially just don't feature.
Yeah. I mean, when I've seen him, it's been in small venues. It's been packed, but it's been a small venue. And he's never had a hit over here.
Cult following. Yeah. We certainly seem to be in a sweet spot for Canada, because if it's time for me to move on to the next one, I'm still in Canada.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick Lorena McKennitt.
Yes.
Now, Lorena McKennitt, to me, I didn't know anything about her until I heard. I think I bought this album. The album I've chosen is called The Visit from 1991. It was her fourth album. And honestly, I think I picked this thing up in a bargain bin. And it had a cover. If you see on the playlist, you'll see the cover of the album. It's a very enigmatic cover. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think the cover on the playlist might be a re-edited or reissued newer picture. But the original picture is this red-haired woman in a black, very dramatic dress approaching a door that looks like Dracula might be on the other side of it. It's an arresting picture. And I think it was literally sitting in a folk music bargain bin, and I thought, well, let's try this, and it completely blew me away, because Lorena McKennitt plays the Celtic harp. She also plays piano, synthesizer, accordion, and bowron. So she plays lots, but the sound of Lorena McKennitt is around the Celtic Irish harp, and then big influence from world music. She draws music in from Celtic sources, from Middle East, and you end up with I'm using the word cacophony, but I don't mean that in a negative sense. It's like an overwhelming sort of fusion of music, and you're just overwhelmed. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. She merges traditional music, mythology, and there's no limit to what she does. If I look at this album called The Visit, the song I've chosen is called All Souls Night, which, just within the first 2 or 3 seconds of the song, you'll know you're in for something weird, because it's got a Middle Eastern sort of growling start, if you know what I mean by that. It's only the Middle Eastern songs, but you think, like, what the hell is this? But then it hooks you immediately. But in there, there's a song on the album called Bonnie Portmore, which was covered recently by Richard Thompson's daughter. You know that band, The Rails? Yeah, they've covered this Bonnie Portmore, which is a song. She's also does a lot of stuff that she derives from sort of classical literature. There's a song on this album called The Lady of Shalott, which is the whole Tennyson poem worked out. She's got a song. She does a version of Green Sleeves, which, having read Wolf Hall, and I've discovered it was not written by Henry VIII, even though he claimed it was. Well, a lot of people claim it was. And there's a song called Cymbeline, which is the Cymbeline from Shakespeare. So there's a lot of very literate sourcing of material in this Canadian artist of Irish and Scottish descent. She's won multiple Grammys, 16 million album sales. So she's again testing this definition. She's quite successful for a folky artist, but I think you have to accept that it's folk music. It doesn't sound like
it
doesn't sound like anything else.
I don't think it makes it not folk anymore. It's just one of those things that the folk community don't get a lot of success in general. I think it doesn't define it as being folk, but it is one of the side effects.
But anyone who just likes music that doesn't sound like everything else you've ever heard before, you should give this a listen. And I think she's got a lot of albums out there, but the one I keep going back to and listening to over and over again is this one. There's not a bad song on it. It's called The Visit, and it's just wonderful.
No, I like the album too. If you haven't got any comments, I'm gonna go straight to my next one. I'm gonna go reverse from where I left off. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 left, haven't we? Yeah,
but we're not in the order really here, are we?
No, we're not. But I want to finish with this, with the way I'll end up finishing it. It'd be nice to finish on that guy. So I'm going to go to an American bluegrass performer, So she's definitely folk. Like some of these, well, I say some of them, probably only Rich Thompson borders on rock music, but and Bruce Cockburn, I guess. But she's definitely folk because she's very, very bluegrass. Although she's got a poppy sense of songwriting actually. So she's a little bit of a crossover into the American country pop kind of thing, and that's Sarah Jarosz. I think she's amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, and her album Undercurrent is brilliant. Again, I've seen her twice. Once on her own in a trio, and once with the I'm With Her band. And I was just completely what's the word? I was engulfed in what she was doing in a solo trio thing. It was so amazing. And my favorite track on there, which is probably the one I put in the playlist, is House of Mercy. It's such an amazing song. And every time I played it to my students, I'll say, listen to this. And I'm confident they're going to go, what? And every single time, doesn't matter who they are, what their taste is, if they're really into proper like dark metal, I'll play them that track and they'll go, oh my God, that's amazing. I was like, yeah, that song's amazing. And I just love her voice. She's got a really interesting way of writing melodies. She reminds me of Suzanne Vega. I think she's got a bit of a Suzanne Vega feel to her. But what is extra for her is she's also an amazing musician. And you watch her do her banjo solos and her mandolin solos. It's phenomenal. So, you know, I love Suzanne Vega, but you never see her do a solo. So she's got that extra thing as an instrumentalist. But no, I think Sarah Jarosz is amazing. So I really wanted to include her. And
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think she's, you know, given that she's a newer generation than many of the names we've mentioned so far, she really is almost in a league of her own. I discovered her on an earlier album, the 2011's Follow Me Down. And on that, she does the song. I don't know if she had a hit with it, but certainly the one everyone talked about was a song called Runaway, which was it's got one of these rolling sound. I mean, I could listen to it all day long.
That's the way she writes the melody. That's got such a great melody.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Yeah. And then if that wasn't enough to sell me, on the same album, she did a cover of Dylan's Ring Them Bells. I mean, you could argue if it's better than the original. I mean, it's just, you know.
It is. Louis always plays that track. My son always plays that track.
I completely endorse your choice. She is one of the finds. If anyone's interested, we should probably spell her name because it's a bit of a bitch to spell.
Yeah.
Her surname is Jarosz. Jarosz.
Yeah.
Sarah Jarosz. But no, she's one of the greatest of the new generation. No doubt.
She is so amazing, and it was such a joy seeing her live. And I'm with her, because I'm going to forget their names now, because she's the one that I was there for. Aoife O'Donovan.
Yes.
And somebody Watkins from
Sarah Watkins.
Sarah Watkins, that's the three of them. So they're obviously famous in their own right. But what was amazing when I saw that gig was this was in it's a really lovely London theatre. Can't remember which one it was. It was a really old theatre. They didn't have any amplification at all. So it was just the theatre acoustics.
And
they never used a tuner. So all three of them just tuned from ear all the way through the gig. And they were tuning the violins, mandolins, banjos, guitars all the way through the gig. Every song they were tuning, and they never once used a tuner. I was just like,
that's when you know you're in the company of greatness.
It's so ridiculous. I was just like, this is insane. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And actually, sorry, no, they did have one mic. Sorry, they did have one mic because they were moving back and forth like they do in the bluegrass tradition. So they did have one mic. Yeah, they did it. Yeah, so it wasn't quite totally unamplified, but they definitely never used a tuner, which was like such a joy to see. But Sarah Jarosz is amazing.
Yeah. All right, I'll pick one again, and you just check that there's no activity that we should be paying attention to. Okay. My next one is back in the States, and I'm going to pick Gillian Welch, who I know you like.
Oh, yeah, I nearly picked her. Yeah. Which one did you go with? Which album did you go with?
Well, it's interesting discussion. I struggled a bit. And before I tell you that, I'll just tell the people who are watching that Gillian Welch is actually a duo of Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings. I think they're in a relationship in real life, aren't they, Gareth? I think they're a couple.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Certainly, they're a musical partnership that is simply stunning in the sort of
he is amazing.
Yeah, the Appalachian bluegrass, country, Americana, that whole blend of genres. The album I've picked is 2011's The Harrow and the Harvest.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why, is that it's their 5th album after an 8-year pause. And there was an interview I saw where Gillian was explaining why the pause. And she actually said, and this, as musicians, I think we will relate to this. She said, our songcraft slipped, and I really don't know why. It's not uncommon. It's something that happens to writers. It's the deepest frustration we have come through, hence the album title. So The Harrow and the Harvest is a return to form, and boy, is it a return to form. I mean, this is just a stunning album. The 2 songs I struggle to choose between are just, it's like an arms race between these 2 songs. They're so good. But the first song on the album is called Scarlet Town, which is a stunning, stunning song. But I ended up picking the 4th song, which is called The Way It Goes, which starts with that line of, Becky Johnson bought the farm, stuck a needle in her arm. That's the opening line of the song. And I mean, this is just something completely different. But the quality, I'm fascinated by this comment about the fact that they didn't produce an album for 8 years because they were struggling to meet their own quality standards. I mean, you've got to admire the integrity of that. But boy, did they fix the problem with this album. This album is just stunning, and it's been universally acclaimed by everybody from one end of the spectrum to the other. So I won't rabbit on, but I am a huge fan of Gillian Welch.
No, I'm a huge fan.
The album is great, but this one is no shade to the others. This is I think this might be her best album, to be honest.
Yeah, I find it hard to pick a best album of hers. I think she's brilliant, and Dave Rawlings is a phenomenal guitarist.
Indeed.
When me and Lou have got like a shorthand. If I want him to do something really like ugly and clashy and discordant, I'll go Rawlings, and he'll go okay, and he'll start doing like a weird solo and be like so go Rawlings. Yeah, amazing.
Back to you.
Okay. So I'm going with a very, very, very folky, trad sounding contemporary act. So it's a couple. A duo, and they're really lovely people. Actually, these are actually also people I've supported twice. Really, really lovely people. And it's been quite a while since I supported them, and I went to see them a little while ago, and they recognised me, which I loved that. They were like, "Hi, Gareth." I was like, "Oh my god!" And they're called Megson, and they might not be known in South Africa, are they? Are they known?
I know them. Look,
cool.
I'm the only guy in South Africa who knows them, but I know them.
So I picked the album Smoke.
Me and Richard, my friend Richard, he would know them as well.
And it's an amazing album. It's difficult to pick an album. They've done some fantastic stuff, but I think overall it's got most of the favorite songs by them appear on that album. But there's other favorite songs that appear on others. It's one of those difficult ones.
Who are the couple that make up Megson?
Stuart.
Yeah. Okay. But it's a loaded question because on the album you've chosen, I see that Seth Lakeman appears.
Oh, Seth Lakeman produced it.
Okay. Because when I listened to this track you chose, which I didn't know, I mean, I know of Megson, but I'm not that familiar with their stuff. When I listened to this, the first thought I had was I could hear the Seth Lakeman influence back from albums like Kitty J. Do you remember Kitty J?
Yeah.
Lakeman has a sort of percussive style of playing. It's quite
yeah. But that's how Stu plays the mandolin as well.
Okay, all right. So when I heard them, and I know of them, and I've got I think 2 or 3 of their albums, but it's not. I couldn't name you the songs off the album. I'm not that familiar with it. But as soon as I listened to the song, I immediately felt like, hey, this sounds like Lakeman, and I was intrigued that there is a link,
I don't know why I can't remember her name, but his wife, she's got a very typical English folk singer voice. Right. There's a really like that. That's like if anyone said what does an English female folk singer sound like, is her. Is it Hannah? It might be Hannah. Hannah might be their surname actually.
No, Hannah Martin's part of Edgelocks.
No, it's all right. I've forgotten her name, which is terrible. But yeah, the sound they create with the two voices is great, and they're brilliant with their harmonies. She plays tin whistle and accordion, and he does all the stringed instruments. He's a really good producer as well, because he ended up producing later albums of theirs, Stu. So that Smoke of Home album is produced by Seth Lakeman. But yeah, it's just such a brilliant album. Smoke of Home, about someone who sort of ends up homeless in London, is an amazing song, written by them. They don't do a lot of traditional stuff. They do a few, but most of it's written by them. But it sounds like a trad song. But there's a great trad song called Lampkin on the album. It's so brilliant. So yeah, seek out Lampkin, as in lamb, as in young sheep, Lambkin. Such a brilliant track. But yeah, it's just they're brilliant. So yeah, that was my next pick.
Okay, right. We're going. I don't know if it's across the water. I've lost track of where we are.
They're from Hull. They're Northerners. They're from Hull.
Okay, well, we're going to Portugal next, and this is an honest attempt by me to make sure that my selection is a little bit sort of all inclusive. But I really, really, really love this album. One needs to tell a little bit of story. If you look at folk music in Portugal, there's one word that always emerges, and that's fado. Fado singing is a cultural thing that's unique to Portugal. It's a sort of mournful but beautiful singing about tunes often about life on the sea, resignation, loss, fate, melancholy, all those sort of words. And there was a sort of traditional queen of fado singing in Portugal called Amália Rodrigues. She was, that's a generation older than Gareth and I, but she was the queen of fado, and then she died in 1999, and this was a cultural event in Portugal. They did a memorial service and the singer called Maritza, who was not any great shakes at that stage, was asked to perform the fado singing at this memorial. It's a little bit like when Lady Gaga did the Julie Andrews tribute at the Oscars. It was a bit like that. And Maritza got up and sung the Amália Rodrigues' songs, and it was just one of those moments, like the Buena Vista moment, where the skies opened and everybody said, "What the heck is this?" And she literally instantly became the successor to the crown of Portuguese for fado singing. And the album I've picked, it's her sixth album. I suspect they're all pretty much good. And again, this is Portuguese singing, so I can't tell you particularly what the songs are about. I can tell you that the album is called Mundo, which means world, and the song is called Rio de Magoa, which means the river of sorrow. You see, not unlikely in fado singing, okay? But literally, if you find her on the playlist, 3 seconds in, you'll either know that you love fado singing or that you don't love fado singing. It's a unique style of singing, and the instrumentation on the song I've chosen is just sublime. So it's one of those where even if you don't know the detail of what she's singing, emotionally you can feel it, and it's a powerful musical experience. And I'm very glad I stumbled across it. The only thing I know about her really is she was born in Mozambique. Her father is Portuguese, but her mom is Mozambican. So that's, I don't know a lot about her, but boy, she's worth a listen.
Yeah, I remember when that all happened, and she came over, and she was on TV over here as well. And
right.
Okay. Yeah. Fado was, especially if you're interested in traditional music in general around the world, then you do find out about fado. Again, like we've been saying, the man on the street, never heard of it, but if you're interested, then you.
Yeah, the minute you say Portuguese folk music, someone's going to say fado to you.
yeah. And like you say, there's a very particular sound to it. So,
beautiful.
Yeah, brilliant.
Back to you.
Okay, still no comments. So this is one of my biggest influences as a songwriter, partly because of the way he plays guitar as well is similar to how I play guitar, but in general, he's the most honest songwriter I know, and quite raw, some of what he writes, and it's Loudon Wainwright III. and it's the album History, which is like full of songs about his family. So it's either there's a really devastating one about his daughter, about a moment in their relationship where he went too far, and the song is about how sorry he was that he put his hand to her, and when she was a kid, and that's probably Martha, and a song about his dad dying, song about his sister, which is my favorite one, which is the one I put on the playlist, called The Picture. It's about the song is about a picture of him and his sister together when they were kids. There's a funny one called When I'm at Your House, which is him going to his ex's house when she's not there. And just sort of getting comfortable. It's really funny. The Doctor is on there, which is when he goes to doctors and he says, you know, your body isn't working the way it used to, and it's just a really funny song about getting old. It's just an amazing album, and when he toured that album, because I've seen him several times, but when he toured that album, his band included Richard Thompson, and it also included Christine Collister. And Clive Gregson, who were like performing a couple at a time. And there was a fantastic harmonica player and accordion player, and Chaim Tenenbaum, who's on loads of his albums, was kind of there as well. But Richard Thompson and Danny Thompson as well was the bass player. It was just a ridiculous band. And Richard Thompson did a support set as well. So with some of those people, so it was a hell of a night. That album's amazing, and it's just great songwriting. And he does these great albums despite not having the best voice in the world, not being a particularly great guitarist. But I just think his songwriting is amazing.
He intrigues me because he's got zero filter. I mean, he writes songs that most of us would be very, very uncomfortable to write. And it may be too much for some people, but if you want an honest singer-songwriter, he's amazing. And one should mention, in case people don't know, that he was married to one of the
Kate McGarrigle,
and that his son from that marriage is Rufus Wainwright, who I think is better known. Rufus, I think, is becoming more successful because Rufus is a lot less folk. Rufus is getting into musicals, and he's pushing the genres in all directions. But he's a prodigious talent, Rufus, as well. I mean,
but it's like, because they've got such a difficult past. I love it when I see them together. When I see Loudon with Martha and Rufus, and sometimes Lucy as well. And sometimes and obviously Kate McGarrill's not around anymore, but sometimes his other wife, who was also in a folk band, she was one of the
Roaches.
One of the Roaches. Yeah, sometimes she's there as well.
Can I tell you, if I'd thought about the Roaches, they would have gone on this list. I love the Roaches.
Yeah, they're amazing harmonies. Yeah,
3 female vocal harmonies you've never heard them. Hammond
so I love it when they're together, because I just feel like, and they're usually doing one of his songs. But Rufus often does one man guy and his own gigs, and I love the fact they're friends, if you like, if that's the right way of saying it, because he wasn't a good dad. He's written about that a lot. He was not a good dad, and he struggled with it. He struggled being a son as well, because his dad he's written a lot about his complicated relationship with his dad, which is some of that's on that album.
He's actually got a recent album called Older Than My Father Was, or something like that. He's a very interesting relationship. Trouble relationships over several generations, but some good art comes out of it, hey?
Absolutely.
Pain and suffering is often the trigger that releases fantastic creativity.
Well, and Martha's first album, she did that really aggressive song about him, didn't she? With loads of swearing.
Yeah, which you can't make on YouTube.
It's really but they're friends now. It's all good. They sorted it out. It's great, and I love that. So as a dad myself, I would, I love seeing them all good and all that. My relationship with my kids is brilliant, which is great, but my relationship with my dad is horrendous. It couldn't be more horrendous. The man was a monster. So it's good that he's corrected that.
It feels like the overwhelming force, a little bit like the Thompson family, because Linda Thompson and Richard Thompson's breakup was very acrimonious as well. But there's a line of talent running through that dynasty that together again.
Yeah,
They're so good.
and yeah, and Linda's performed with Richard since the split as well. Now they've become friends again, which is great. And obviously Teddy Thompson's brilliant. So yeah, there's a couple of comments here. So there's got one from Happy Kindness. Folk music was so different because those people actually believed their music could change things. You guys failed to notice that, but I noticed it. No, not at all. No, we were talking about. I don't know if you saw the early part of the show, but we were. Mike was talking about Woodstock, and when I talk about Woodstock to my students, I talk about how important it was that they chanted against the rain because they thought they could stop the rain. Their hope and their belief in changing the world was so strong they thought they could stop the rain. I mean, I wish we had that kind of like belief in change now. You know, it's like people have got so cynical now. No, you know, when the singer-songwriter boom happened and there was this cross between folk and pop, there was this amazing belief in political movements and that. No, absolutely no.
It was in fact a generational thing because a whole lot of stuff had happened simultaneously. You know, the Americans had returned from the Vietnam War, and because of the Vietnam War, all the returning vets got given picket fence homes and free education, and therefore the next generation of kids that grew up in the 60s had a completely different view of life from their parents who had suffered the war and had grown up in austerity. So you had this disconnect where the kids were saying, the older generation just doesn't understand. Give it to us. We'll fix it. We'll change the world. Now you can argue whether that died out at Altamont in the 70s. You know.
Well, it's weird because I do think it's like the 60s. It became between the mid 60s and the late 60s. It became fashionable to do protest songs and to try and accelerate change and to have that voice. And the civil rights movement was huge in that. And music was a massive part of the civil rights movement. So not only to help with race relations, but also with the Vietnam War and the different ways they were changing the values for the sexual revolution as well, and all that. So everything was changing. But actually, also politics came back into pop in the 80s as well. So you know, the
Reagan and Thatcher, I think, again, like George Bush, every time there's a sort of a right-wing president or prime minister, it sort of gives the folk music, the protest music, a shot in the arm, and off they go again. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, the difficult thing now, like I was saying at the early part of the show, is that there is a lot of protest stuff in the rock bands, the heavy rock bands now. But like you were saying about how Spotify, like diverse, everybody's listening, and we're not all listening to the same thing. It hasn't got that same unifying thing that it did in the 60s and it did in the 80s. You know, now everyone's into different bands. So it's there. The protest songs are there.
You're right.
Rock bands,
I mean, like Rage Against the Machine is a protest band, you know. But yeah, no. But I would just say to this viewer who made the comment that
Happy Kindness.
I don't know when you joined the show, but we talked earlier about not just Bob Dylan, who you're right, never smiles. It was Donald Trump, by the way, but I'm not suggesting
very different people.
Yeah, indeed. But we talked about Phil Oakes as well, who was very much that sort of here's the songs I need to tell you so that you can see what's wrong with the world and what we're going to do about it. But, anyway.
I mean, one of the people I look up to the most, if you like, in music is Billy Bragg, and he's spent his entire career being an activist as much as being a songwriter. He does actually write really good love songs, but it's his political songs that people sing with him, and you know that are huge things, you know, and he's a big ambassador across the world, I think, for sensible politics, you know. And if you get him talking on, there's some great interviews that he's done on TV when he's been talking about reform, a horrendous party in our country at the moment. He's great talking about that, and you know, when they were painting St. George's flags on the roundabouts, you know, all that crap. He was really, that's died down now, which is great. But it was really good the way he was talking about that, you know, because he was saying, because he's got this thing about wanting to be proud to be British, but not letting the right wing claim that pride. You know, he says that
patriotic nationalist.
So yeah, Billy Bragg's a great ambassador for that. So, and he says what made him want to write songs and what made him want to perform was the Clash. You know, So you know, he comes from a punk end, but
he's like punk. But I have a very soft spot for Billy Bragg because he is brilliant and he's always intentional. And in fact, round about the time of Brexit, he released an album with a song on it called, with great punning, called Full English Brexit. And it is one of the best songs, political songs I've heard for a long time. So good,
great song,
that I learned it and I included it in that show I was telling you about songs of protest and change. It's a fantastic song, just sort of capturing the zeitgeist of the country at that point, which was very sort of divided.
If you get a chance, he took part in an album called Don't Mourn, Organise, which was a tribute to Joe Hill. And he performed this massive 8-minute glorious song that was written by Phil Oakes called Joe Hill.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's his version. If you ever get a chance to hear Billy Bragg's version, it's so brilliant. Phil Oakes' version is brilliant, but Billy Bragg's version, oh my god, it's so cool. Led by a banjo.
He brings a uniqueness to the songs, a bit like you. That's why I draw the parallel with Annie DeFranco. That he's just got a different, unique style, minimalist and a bit punk in attitude.
Yeah.
Really weird.
And he did an album called The Internationale, where it was more direct. Where he actually recorded The Internationale, and The Red Flag with Dick Gaughan was a duet, wasn't it, with him on that one? So and he did Jerusalem as well on that album as well. We get a few. So Happy Kindness said a couple of other things. So she said AI is going to take over music in every genre. I'd be super nervous about my future. I mean, AI is a problem, but I talk about this with my students. They have to do a little presentation about it. I came to the conclusion, it's only hit me one day, because clearly I think about this a lot because I'm training them up to do a presentation on it and they have to research it. I think AI will actually really just affect manufactured music, because if the big companies want to just put out a song that written by a committee, the people look exactly right, all that sort of stuff, then they can do that with AI. They don't need singers and musicians to do that. But
they have done that with AI.
But for people that love bands, people go see live bands, it's a very different thing. So I don't think AI is going to take over your general music scene, but it will definitely have an influence on commercial that word that I said a minute ago, commercial music. So I do think that's where AI will fit, because I thought, oh my god, this is terrible, and my students go, this is terrible, it's going to take everything over, and I don't think it will, because I think people they love the person performing it too much, and AI just creates crap anyway. It just repeats itself, so it won't last anyway.
The thing about AI, to be very clear on, is AI cannot create. It can only collate. It can only bring together what already exists, and ultimately, if you do that enough, it's an ever decreasing cycle down to the bottom.
Well, it will start drawing from its own AI.
yes, it'll disappear of its own. But I am worried about it, because people like Spotify, for example, are working out that if you create a new artist in AI, you can have the same number of Spotify hits, but you don't have to pay anyone else the royalties. The royalties will stay with Spotify. So there is this generation, and I don't know if you've seen them, Gareth. You probably have. There's some very frightening demos that I've seen where you can literally tell AI, okay, I want a country and western star. He must look hot. He must, have a song that is 3 bars long and uses these chords. Boom, boom, boom. Hit go, and there it is. And I can hear that it's never a song I'm going to want to listen to again, given my reference of the music we've talked about tonight. But I can't necessarily be sure that it's substantially worse than what you called the committee songs that are on the charts. Do you know what I mean? And if it,
But you're not going to get something that's going to blow your mind. You're going to get something that sounds like a commercial song.
Average. It's
going to be, which is fine, because some people love that. But there's always going to be a big proportion of the population that won't want that.
I do think, again, not to be doom and gloom, but I need more of a discussion, Gareth, because you're probably much better researched on this than me, but I am quite worried about, the record industry is not a particularly altruistic industry.
No, it's not about altruism, though. It's about the record company, the people who run the record company wanting that themselves, not about not giving to the artists, but the music they like, because loads of small labels are made by people who love music.
I can see that in terms of the creator of the music, like a Richard Thompson.
No, the record labels. If you think about the people who made Motown records, people who made Stiff records, people who made Roadrunner records, the metal thing, Def Jam records, the hip hop label, all those people that made those labels, they made them for the love of the music, not to make money. So you've got the big companies that want to make money, and that's the manufactured music. That was the word I was trying to think of, the manufactured music. But you've got a whole load of other music that's made by people who love music, and that includes the people not making it, but the people
here's the
paying for it.
Did those indie labels that did it for the love of music, did they achieve critical mass? Because in that era, we were all listening to the same 2 or 3 DJs telling us what to listen to on BBC One or whatever it was.
Because if you go down that road, the truth of the matter is that my son is massively into Japanese jazz because Spotify led him into Japanese jazz. So that's not AI created. That's made by some crazy Japanese jazz performers. So if you're going to look at everyone's listening to different things, but also everybody's listening to real musicians as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I'm worried about the economic viability of it. That Japanese guy will never be able to tour the UK because your son's the only guy who knows he exists. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a different debate. But I do think that the AI thing, it just because to be fair, for a number of years, until recently, I did think, oh my God, this is a real problem. But I don't actually think it's as big a problem as people think it is.
Okay, I need to understand that more because
I think there's a problem with actors and filmmaking
and whole Hollywood and
I think that's different. Because
I would want to understand why, because they're both creators and performers of art.
But I think people aren't as personally invested in the actors as they are in the music. I think that's what makes it more personal for them when they're really into a band and they'll buy their T-shirts and they'll buy their badges.
Everybody loves artificial AI ABBA. I suppose it's that or nothing.
It's not. And it's not anyway. And I was really cynical about it until I found out that the blonde one, is that Agnetha? The blonde one? Agnetha. She hated performing live. Always did. Always hated it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, actually, maybe that's not so weird that she said, yeah, you can still do the show, do the music, but I don't want to be there. I think that's fair enough then. If I thought it was a bit weird, a bit of a cash in thing.
I've got more
sympathy for it.
I mean, to me, this whole what's that word they use? Jukebox musicals.
Jukebox musicals.
That is cashing in. But to be honest with you, I mean, if you're Billy Joel or whoever at the end of your career, why not?
Well, and it's a hell of a good income for you.
Yeah,
for the songwriters, not for the band, but songwriters. The band won't get anything, but it's the songwriters will get all the money.
It's just leveraging the brand that you created and the music you created. I don't have a problem with it at all. In fact, I mean, again, my favorite band, Jethro Tull, those guys are getting old and the voices are cracking, and
Ian Anderson can't sing anymore. Sadly.
Yeah, but what's quite pleasing to see if you're a supporter of the band is that his son, who used to play drums with the band, has now taken over as manager of Jethro Tull Inc. Because I mean there is a stunning catalogue there. But
I tell you what, as a Jethro Tull fan, have you seen footage of the Martin Barr band?
Yes, I like the Martin Barr band very much.
Yeah, because the singer he's got sounds like a young Ian Anderson. It's great. It's better to see Jethro Tull as the Martin Barr band, really, because you'll hear him sung properly. Sadly.
Ironically, I do think I feel sorry that Ian Anderson sort of can't accept that it's time to move on vocally. Flute-wise, he's fine, but he did when they did Jethro Tull the musical that everybody has to do. He actually hired in. Because he created this exactly like the jukebox idea. He created a musical based on all the songs. It was quite hilarious. It was about the agricultural Jethro Tull and food shortages. You can just imagine. But he brought in a young actor/singer whose name I can't remember now to sing most of the hard solo vocal bits, and this guy sounded exactly like Ian Anderson. And I just wish they kept him. I don't know whether maybe he want to stay.
Yeah, I think that shows you his ego, doesn't it? Because if he can still play guitar, he can still play the flute, then he should just replace his own vocals with somebody who can sing.
Yeah.
And then he can still be right at the front of the gig. He can be talking in between the songs. He can be making it as his show. But then there's somebody else singing. That's the way to do it. I don't, if my voice went, then I would love to know that I had the enough pride in what I did to get somebody else to do it for me, you know, rather than if I can't sing that anymore, I get someone else to do it, you know.
Yeah, because his attempt to do it is painful to watch, to be honest. As a fan,
I think he's got every right to perform because that's what he's done all his life and that's his job and he loves doing it. And you know, it would be awful to not do it, but he can still play the flute, he can still play guitar. He doesn't need to not play. He just needs to realize he can't sing. You know, it's like John Bon Jovi. He can't sing anymore, so he should be playing guitar and singing the bits he can sing because he can sing the low stuff. He just can't sing the crazy high stuff that he did in his younger years. You know, I mean, John Bon Jovi had an amazing range when he was young.
Yes,
but he's got no range anymore, and it sounds horrific. I mean, it catches
up with all of us. You know,
it's
you know,
and I just think they can still do their gigs, but just play guitar. You know.
And gone down a bit of a rabbit hole.
We have. We got. I'll just find. So this person, I don't know what their name is, but Happy Kindness keeps talking about AI, and she's getting very upset about AI. I do think, I mean, absolutely, there's definitely an ethical problem with it. And she says Randy Travis replaced his own vocals for an album because he lost his voice, which is crazy. I mean, it's up to him, I suppose, but I'm sure most of his fans probably thought it was a bit crap doing that. Being American and having grown up in the 60s, I have to remind music lovers of Tracy Chapman. What a voice, what a soul. Well, that's the thing, that she was one of the things that made the 80s political, because her first album came out in like 86 or something. And she's another one of my heroes. We've performed half of her album over the years, half of her first album. She's amazing.
And again, the power of it is super powerful songs in a simplistic arrangement. One acoustic guitar, one female voice. You know, to me, there's a counterintuitive thing. I think a lot of musicians feel that more is better. You know, we need more gear, we need more musicians, we need more big sound. To me, the powerful moments that stop you in your tracks is when somebody just goes back to basics. You know, one guitar, one voice.
I particularly like her third album. Have you heard her third album called Matters of the Heart?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
I like album.
I like the first one, of course, is like stunning, you know. I love the second one as well. The second one's got
Crossroads. Yeah, Crossroads is good. But I remember we listened to the third album over and over again for ages.
I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but I've always thought the theory is that the first album benefits from a lifetime of writing great songs. Then they've normally got too many songs. They got to pick the songs they want to include. So they pick the best, and the first album's a winner. Then the record company says, "Quick, let's have a second." And normally they've got enough to pad that out. The third album to me is the stress test.
You
have a great third album, you're going to go on to be Elton John or one of these guys that just produces great albums one after the other. That's because if you look at the history, there's a lot of people with fantastic first albums, good second album, and the third album starting to thin, and then it fades away. You know,
Kate Bush did her first two albums in the same year.
What's the third album? Remind me the order.
The third album was Never Forever, which is really experimental. Never Forever's got like Army Dreamers on it and Babushka's on it.
Good song. And she has staying power.
But she did like one album every 10 years though, so it's a bit
but that third album is always the acid test to me. If you can a good third album.
So so Karen is her name, I think, and she's not a fan of Trace Chapman by the looks of it. Hi William, nice to see you. Thanks for dropping by. She went full on political lately and totally ruined her legacy. Oh, I'm sure I agree with what she said. Musicians should never go political. Oh, we've just spent about half an hour talking about protest songs and how important they are. We are definitely in a different place to you, my friend.
I think without the political thing,
I've spent 30 years writing political songs, my mate. So
I don't think I don't think the folk music tradition would have lasted without the political impetus. I think it's that way around.
Yeah, absolutely. Folk music is political.
People needed a method of creating a voice for the downtrodden, lower classes, etc. And music was that back in the days of the medieval troubadours, and that's what it was. I think saying music should never go political. It always was.
It always will be as well. It's just bizarre. I had one of my students say that, and he said he likes He likes it. He mentioned a particularly political artist. He doesn't like the politics. So, well, why do you like what they do? Oh, I don't know. I think it's nice to see them passionate about something, but I don't really get what they're saying. I just think, well, you're completely missing their point then. So yeah, it's quite funny, isn't it?
All right.
Kate, she says Kate was a genius, so that's good. So thank you for that. Yeah, Karen's right on that one. So let's go to your next one, shall we?
Okay.
Is it your turn? Is it your turn?
I've got number 9. My number 9.
Oh no, I've got another. What was your last one?
You should have 2 left. I've got 2 left.
Yes. Yes. Go on. Yeah. Go on.
My number 9. We're traveling again, although this is a bit of a collaboration. So we're traveling to India, but we're collaborating between India and the US. And we mentioned earlier the wonderful work of Rai Kuda, who is a great artist in his own right. But to me, he is in a different league of maestro when he collaborates around the world, whether it's the guys from Africa, Ali Farka, those sort of guys. But in the one I'm talking about is a wonderful album that I don't think has a lot of awareness. It's a combination, a collaboration between Rai Kuda and an Indian musician called Vishwa Mohan Bhatt. It's called A Meeting by the River. It's an album of 4 songs, and the songs are 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 9 minutes, and 7 minutes. So and
they're improvised as well, aren't they?
Totally improvised. Kuda plays, as he often does, the slide guitar, and Vishwa Mohan Bhatt actually created an instrument that's called the Mohan Veena. It's a stringed instrument, and it's instantly recognizable for its sort of haunting clarity of sound. What happened here was they met, and it was a sort of almost unplanned and unrehearsed. They literally met and sat down, turned the machines on, and improvised these 4 songs over the 2 sides of an old LP. The rest of the musicians involved, Rai Kuda's son Joachim plays a dumbek, which is a Middle Eastern drum, and a musician, I need to not butcher this, Sukhvinder Singh Namdari plays a tabla drum. So it's very Indian, other than the slightly blues slidey guitar that Rai Kuda brings in. I've got a quote here from the critics, because unless you go to our playlist, you're not going to know
what it sounds like. Yeah.
The critic said, "This is nothing short of astounding. It's a thing of pure, unadulterated beauty, the strongest record in Kuda's extensive catalogue. Kuda is arresting, but is haunting, a rare transcendental beauty." And Bhatt himself, on talking about this album, said, "Music has no religion and no geographical or linguistic barrier. It speaks a universal language." And I think we were talking earlier about albums like the Portuguese Fado Singers, which aren't intelligible to us English speakers. But this album, this is not an album to listen to driving to work in a hurry. This is album, you got to put this album on, and even though I've given you 1 song on the playlist, I've chosen the one called "A Meeting by the River," same name as the album, because it's the first song. It's 10 minutes long. So, but this is an album that you need to put on maybe on a Sunday morning and really sink into. It is an ethereal experience about what music can do. And I don't know, Gareth, I think as a musician, you'll know this, that you can rehearse your band and you'll play gigs, and 5 days out of 6, it's just grind, and here we go. And once in a while, at a live performance, something happens, and the clouds part, and the music just moves into an area that's impossible to describe. The closest I've ever heard to the description of what it's like is James Baldwin. See, I'm doing a books thing now. James Baldwin's short story called Sonny's Blues. There's a description in there about the actual act of a musician. Let me try and remember the phrase. It's about pulling the music from the void and managing the roar as it comes through. And it's just it's a beautiful piece of writing. But my point is, back to this choice of song and album, is this is an album. I mean, if you said, let's take a blues slide guitarist and an Indian guy who's created a unique Indian stringed instrument, chuck in a couple of tabla drums, it sounds like a horrendous disaster. And by the way, don't rehearse, just see how it goes, And yet out of this comes this, what they call a transcendental moment of beauty. It is one of the most lovely pieces of music. You have to be in the right mood. It's a quiet, you know.
Yeah.
Thing.
Meditative, isn't it? Yeah.
But
You've got to let it float over you.
Anyone who likes world music, likes folk music, there's a lot to like in this thing. Anyway, so that's my pick. Let me not ramble on.
Meeting by the River. Yeah. There's a great track called Ganges Delta Blues, isn't there? Where it's basically them riffing off a blues riff, and it sounds really Indian. It's fantastic.
Yes.
That record label, Water Lily Acoustics, was designed to have the most amazing quality of sound. And they sort of brought these people together, these different nationalities together, these different ethnic groups, and all of their albums are really fascinating. There's one with Bella Fleck in it, on banjo.
One with Martin Simpson and a Chinese lady whose name I but unbelievable collaborations.
Yeah, fantastic. Just the whole concept's brilliant.
We've got to look in tonight as well, by the way.
Sorry, I missed that. He's nearly on your list. Was he Martin Simpson?
No, I'm saying he should have been on my list. I suddenly thought about that.
I love the track, the song he did called "He Was Never Any Good with Money."
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah,
fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is definitely folk rock or folk punk in some ways. It's The Men That Couldn't Hang. It's their best album by a mile. It's literally the most incredible album, called Waiting for Bonaparte. It's a very political album, so I don't think Karen would like it. It's also got a traditional song on it called Smugglers, which is gets everyone singing along in the gigs. But the song The Colours is definitely a rally with references to Napoleon and what was happening in Britain at the time of the Napoleon takeover of Europe or whatever. So there's references to that, but references to the colours of the flag. It's a fantastic song, but the whole album is amazing. And the first track, which is the one I put on the playlist, The Crest, is like it's like a World War I song with absolute fire behind it. It's very folky. It's a folk album, but it's loud and it's charged and it's amazing. And it's got this snarl going all the way through it. Amazing, absolutely nutters. By the way, I've done many things with them. Two of them are on the second Beamers album. I've had different experiences with them in different ways. I've got lots of stories, but that album is absolutely amazing. Waiting for Bonaparte.
I don't know whether you'll agree with me, but when I listened to them, they reminded me a little bit of the Pogues.
They were on the same circuit and they were friends.
Obviously English, Irish, but the same sort of respect for folk music, but giving it a bit of kick up the ass in terms of modernizing it a bit. Which I liked very much.
Brilliant.
I can't help. Given that the album's called Waiting for Bonaparte, I have to give a quick mention to another band that you mentioned earlier, the Oyster Band. I love the Oyster Band, but I really love the Oyster Band when they're fronted by June Tabor.
That was a good album.
And if I had one song, which this was about albums more than songs, but they have a song about Napoleon and his wars called the Bonnie Bunch of Roses. It's just June Tabor. I mean, I discovered June Tabor and the Oyster Band way back. They did an album in the 80s, which I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember the name of the album, but they had some brilliant. They had a brilliant song about Lazarus or something like that. But more recently, this Bonnie Bunch of Roses, I think it's a traditional song, but they take it by the scruff of the neck, and I mean, she's another voice that defines English folk. No sweetness in it at all. It's like
she was a big name in when she was doing her early albums. She was huge on the folk scene. I think it's her album which she did with the Oyster Band. I think that's the album that's got her amazing cover of Billy Bragg's song "Valentine's Day Is Over."
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Did you know that? Do you know her version of that?
I know the song. Yes, I don't know if it's on that album. I'm not sure whether it was album.
It's the best song about domestic abuse. It's an incredible, and it needs to be sung by a woman, really. And obviously Billy Bragg's version is brilliant. He wrote it and all that. But when she sings it, oh my god, it's amazing. Absolutely fantastic song. So I really like June Tabor's voice. Oops, sorry. It keeps falling. Yeah. So I love her voice.
So my last one, I haven't picked anything from South Africa yet, but I'm now going to pick an album from South Africa. Not because I'm being patriotic, but because this, I think, really does belong on a list of great folk albums. And again, the folk definition here can possibly be debated.
I'm missing some of what you're saying. I don't know if it's my end or your end, but I'm missing some of what you're saying. Can you say that last bit again?
Yeah. I was just saying I haven't picked any South African albums so far. Is that better, Gareth? Can you hear me now?
No,
nothing's changed on my end. I haven't touched anything. That's weird. I literally haven't. I'm sitting in a chair removed from the technology. It's out of reach, so I haven't.
It might be mine. Might be my.
Your image has frozen. Your image. Oh, you've come back now. Your image froze.
So your image. Okay.
Okay.
Can someone say in the chat which one of us is
yeah? And can you? Did you hear everything I said about the South Africa? I'll say it again for Gareth.
Because you don't have to. Courtney's here. Sorry, Courtney, I didn't see your first comment or didn't put it up. Hold on. Where is it? I need to. I think it is my end because I can't even put the thing up.
Okay, I can see a comment that says Tangible Reads are saying, "Okay, got to go cook and feed my face."
Oh, good. It's on there.
Thank you very much.
That's good.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. So
and Karen says you can hear both of us. So fair enough.
Okay, great. Okay.
It's just our own experience.
So for my very last pick, I've reserved for a song from South Africa. As I said, not because I'm patriotic, but because this is how good these guys are.
I've got no idea.
You don't know these guys, Gareth. Then you've got a great joy to come.
Go on.
Are you all right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
It's all gone a bit funny at my end, but it's fine.
The band is called Juluka. I'll talk a little bit about that word now. It's a Zulu word.
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, great. Because I said I'm picking these guys not out of patriotism, but out of sheer quality. The history of this band is they sort of emerged deep in the apartheid years in this country, and what was unique about them were they were pretty much the only multiracial band at the time of any sort of awareness or consciousness. There were 3 white guys, 3 black guys in the band, and the leader and genius behind the band. I see we've lost Gareth's picture, but I'm hoping he's still there in some sense, but I'll carry on anyway. The lead singer is Johnny Clegg, and Johnny Clegg is known colloquially and around the world now as the White Zulu, and that may sound a little bit strange. Okay, that looks like I'm on my own. Can anybody tell me? I can still see a thing that says live, but I can only see myself. Can anybody tell me if we got a song? Let me try and contact Gareth. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to pause for a second. Have a slip of coffee while we're here. I see something that looks a little bit like Gareth circling. Yeah, there he is.
Hey, I reckon that tells me it was definitely my end. Okay,
good. Are you all right now? Are you back?
Yeah.
I had a panic because when you disappeared, I filled the screen and I thought, am I talking to myself or can the viewers still see me? I don't know. So anyway,
it's weird because it's my channel as well. What happens? You know what I mean? It's like I wouldn't be able to finish it and just be sitting there forever.
No, I think if you disappear, I think I'm flying solo. Yeah. But anyway, look, in the interest of not dissing this band, let me just recap a little bit very quickly.
Yeah.
South African band called Juluka. Juluka is a Zulu word that means sweat, and it's so called because of the high kicking style that they do in the scatamere dancing. The genius, I was saying, deep in the apartheid years in the 80s is when this band emerged. 6-member band, 3 white guys, 3 black guys, which was unheard of in those days and illegal because you couldn't have concerts with mixed audiences, racially mixed audiences. So these guys were really in your face, and the thing that made them succeed was the simple power and beauty of the music. Their music is a blend of Zulu, Celtic, and rock. So you could give me a hard time on the folk bit, but I'm not going to accept that because
no. I think
indigenous music it's a uniquely indigenous South African music. It doesn't sound like anywhere else.
I need to look into this band because I don't think I know these guys. So
you
this would be a new one.
You definitely do, and I'm very happy to be your pathfinder. But let me just tell you, in terms of impact, They have become globally known, and they played in Paris. And the night they played in Paris, they were sold out. And down the road was Michael Jackson, who moved his concert to another night because these guys were in town and everyone in Paris was going to see Juluka.
I've got a thing. It says YouTube is currently experiencing some issues with their APIs that might prevent some users from going live.
I saw that before we started, though, so I think that's just a general warning. Look, we're nearly there. We're nearly there. We're my song and your song away from wrapping up.
Yeah, got one left. Yeah,
we'll leave the books for another night, I think. But
I think so. Yeah.
let me quickly just tell the story that Johnny Clegg, and just a shout out to the books. I know
Johnny Clegg.
Well, this is Johnny Clegg.
Well, let's do books another day. We'll be able
yeah. I'm just saying, there's a book of Johnny Clegg. This is Johnny Clegg's band. Okay, Johnny Clegg.
Yeah, I'll show one too.
Okay, 1-1. Johnny, for those who don't know, Johnny Clegg is known as the White Zulu. He grew up with a Scottish father, a Zimbabwean mother. His ancestry is Jews from Belarus and Poland. He learned as a kid. He learned the Zulu language, the Zulu dance, the maskandi, the guitar. And he met a migrant mine worker called Sipho Nchunu when he was 16. They formed Juluka, which means sweat. They went on to a second band called Savuka, which means awake or renewal. Their music combines, as I said, Zulu, Celtic, and rock music, English and Zulu lyrics intermixed, coded political messages, which the apartheid regime didn't understand at the time. They had a moment of success because the movie Rain Man has got their song Scatterlings of Africa in it. That gave them a UK.
I do know Johnny Clegg stuff, so I didn't recognize the band name. So I probably
Johnny Clegg had Juluka, then he had Savuka, then he went solo. So he had 3 stages. You maybe know his third stage. But the other night, Johnny Clegg's now passed away. He died in 2019. But the beauty of this is that he has had global recognition for the music of this band. He's had 5 honorary degrees around the world. He was cited as the 23rd greatest South African of all time. So that'll give you an idea of the respect he has in this country. He was awarded the Order of the Ikamanga, which is the highest order we can get in this country, given by the state president for service to the arts. He's got a British OBE because he was actually born either in England or in one of the colonies, I forget which. He has received, the French give an equivalent. They give a thing that in English is called the Knight of Arts and Letters. I can't remember the French term for it.
Okay.
He was given one of those. So there is recognition of how great he is. I've picked a song called Africa Sky Blue, but any of the songs on this Best of Juluka, sorry, I did it again. I picked the best of, but this, if you want to hear the most exciting music that has been created in this country, it's not pure indigenous folk. And some purists might say to me, no, you need to go back and listen to Makgatela and the Makgatela Queens and, some of these more tribal indigenous music. But the beauty of this music was it emerged into the mainstream and pulled together Black people and white people in this country in a fusion of something that was so good and so powerful that it cocked a snoot at the rules that were saying this ought not to be happening. And that's a seminal moment in folk music that's powerful. We go back to saying earlier, this comment about staying out of politics doesn't work. This is music that drives.
Well, same with the ska bands and the two-tone label.
Yeah.
They were deliberately multicultural, black and white working together during the time of race riots in London and across the UK. So that was really important as well. The ska.
Yeah, I mean the stories of this band touring this country and where they had to, suddenly they had to duck off in this town and disappear and hide and put people up in houses. It really was a sort of activist type of escapade. But the best thing in terms of tonight's list is that the music is simply fantastic and quite accessible to our ears, if I can put it that way. It's not music that's difficult to get into or to listen to. It's very humanistic and it hits you right in the gut. Okay, let me stop.
No, that's cool. No, that's cool. I know some Johnny Clegg stuff, and I'm going to look more into the different stages of his career. So apparently this is not someone called Karen, and that's Mitch Hedberg. I really like Mitch Hedberg's comedy stuff. Everyone's putting books behind them. We're a booktube channel, so me and Mike are both booktube channels. So we talk mostly about books. So that's why we got books behind us. So you're saying we're just following everyone else. I don't think most YouTube channels have books behind them, but yeah, we talk about books mostly. But today we've got a day off and we're talking about music because we love talking about music. So
it's good to meet you. I hope you stick around.
yeah. So I think one that's actually called Karen saying thank you for this stream, much fun. A lot familiar with a lot of South African stuff. One of my favorites, Miriam Makeba. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah,
fantastic.
Absolutely. Right, one more from you, Gareth.
One more from me, and it's the great Londoner who now lives in the Outer Hebrides in Scotland, but he was born and raised in London, and you can tell from his voice. Rory McLeod, absolutely phenomenal songwriter. And his first album, half of the first album that he did called Kicking the Sawdust, was actually recorded on a tape recorder. So this guy, proper indie, but also he travels around the world kind of basically singing for his supper. And the way that he constructs his music, like you said about somebody else, can't remember who it was, you can hear the influences of all these different cultures that he has been around and lived in the music he does. You know, there's loads of Middle Eastern influences on his stuff. There's loads of flamenco influences. There's loads of gypsy influences. But there's also this sort of a very English folk thing that he's doing, and ska and reggae as well. He's just an amazing man, and he tends to perform solo, and like with a harmonica and with some spoons and with a platform that he stands on where he can tap with his feet to create the rhythm. That's usually how you find him, and he's an amazing guitarist as well. So he played guitar as well, but his records are really layered. So he'll all the different instruments he plays, he'll put them on the record. But he's just such an amazing lyricist, and he wrote the most fantastic song about apartheid called Huge Sky. So
I don't know.
Yeah. So have a listen to Huge Sky. It's about a man who was killed in while being detained by the South African authorities. It's a specific case. So that's called Huge Sky. But there's a lovely love song called Hug You Like a Mountain, which is just a beautiful song. But a lot of his stuff's political. He's an amazing kind of rally call called Angry Love, which is a brilliant song. And I've covered that on Facebook in the COVID gigs. And he actually commented and said, lovely cover version. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, nice. My God. And I have actually supported him a couple of times, but we're not like friends or anything, but I have supported him a couple of times. He's someone who will literally talk for about 20 minutes before he does a song. It's so funny. And like, if you're not used to it, you're like, is he going to actually do a song? He's talk forever. And usually they're really good stories about the people he's met while he was in Colombia writing this song that he's about to play, and he'll give you this amazing story, you know.
I don't know him very well, and I watched the video on our playlist of the song you chose, Farewell Welfare, and I loved it. I mean, it's infectious. I immediately sort of thought of a similar sound. I don't know if you know Philip Henry and Hannah Martin, who are part of the band called Edgelarks in the UK. I've actually met them because they came out here more on a social. They stayed with friends. It was a sort of, they played a few gigs at the folk clubs here, but it was, barely commercial, if you know what I mean. It was strung because somebody here had heard them and thought these guys are so good. But Philip Henry plays a mouth organ with the same rhythmic style that I heard from Rory McLeod in that the sort of percussive. I don't know what the right word is. It's like
that sort of full sound, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a hectic staccato rhythm. But
Rory McLeod started in the 80s, so they were probably influenced by Rory McLeod.
No doubt, I'm sure. Yeah. It just suddenly made me think of them. But I don't know him well at all, and in fact my little sort of attempts to find out more between seeing him on your list, I don't think he is as established here as some of these other names that I've mentioned.
It's funny because there's not the stuff on YouTube is quite frustrating, so I'd say just go and buy his albums, because his albums are so well produced and they get a good wealth of his songs. There's a great song which I don't think you can hear the proper version of it on YouTube, called Shirley's Her Name. And it's the best song that anyone's written about their mum. It's just so cool. Shirley's her name, but we call her our mum. I call my dad. I feel like a prodigal son. It's just like, it's every line is just gorgeous. And there's one called The Wind Is Getting Stronger, and that's about his nan. It's just he's just such a great songwriter. Really is one of the best. So yeah.
Unbelievably, if I trust the little clock in the corner of the screen, we're coming up for 3 hours, Gareth.
That's just by picking 10 albums each. But
I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you a secret, and it'll be interesting to test. I like to read up on what YouTube is telling us about what the trends are and what people, and apparently the new thing with YouTube is longer form content. People like long stuff. And I've taken that to heart because, I mean, I did a video the other day about reading Wolf Hall, and it's something I ended up with having a chat with Steve Donahue. And anyone who knows, when you chat to Steve Donahue, it's never short. It's always long. But in fact, I think it's currently my best performing video because it's a rich discussion about the book, but it's something like an hour and a half. You know, it's long. So let's hope that 3 hours is not necessarily
I'd like to think that that's a thing, but I think it was also that you were talking to Steve Donahue, and he's got a lot of followers.
Yeah. And also a little bit too, Gareth. I'm not known for being, short of chat, but it's been a lot of fun, I have to say.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I don't know about the audience. I don't know. I mean, we had I hope those who gave us a try have enjoyed it, but I've certainly enjoyed it, and I did very much relate. Those who don't know, Gareth and I have sort of bumped into each other on BookTube, and particularly in comments on other people's live chats where we've sort of realized, hang on a minute, we've both got the same passionate love for the same kind of music. And therefore the feeling was sooner or later we had to get together and chat about it.
Yeah.
We achieved. I think we've achieved.
It's very cool, yeah.
Depending on how this
I think, I mean, if we want to do this again, which I really hope we do, we could do the books, because we're going to do 10 books each, won't we? So we could talk about music-related books, but also, because we only kind of tentatively did it, and I deliberately didn't go into it too much, I've got a real strong love of world music, African music, gypsy music, klezmer, all sorts of different types of music from around the world. And it'd be so good to just pick some albums from that as well, and maybe some artists like, Package Lucia, or
and in fact, if people are going to watch this will really test who lasts all 3 hours. But if anyone's watching it and likes this idea, you should put in the comments the countries you'd like us to look at, because we'll have our own selections, but if you're sitting in outer Uzbekistan and you want us to look at the music from there, let us know. Just because I'm often interested, because I'm sure the vast majority of viewers on BookTube generally are American/English, but I've become aware that in my group of subscribers, there's quite a wide variety. There's people all over the place, and I think it's because when you find a fellow book lover, you're immediately in a minority. Do you know what I mean? It's anyway, so it's a kindred spirit, and I think but certainly I think kindred spirit is a good way to describe you and me on music, Gareth, because
absolutely. There's that worry people are going to be like, why the hell are they talking about music? But I think like you said, I do have that name for my channel, which helps, but it's hopefully not lost too many people. We've had a really nice comment from our new friend who said that they've really enjoyed it, which is great. We're intelligent and funny. Very nice. It's very nice to say.
I hope you're going to subscribe to both channels. We're obviously on Gareth.
Yeah.
I'm a Griffith Reed, so give me a shout too. So no, thank you very much, and I appreciate that you came here with a view and you've given us a chance to talk you around on music. I think this is the point.
I was worried that we'd lost them, but it's great.
No, I think the truth about music is, and it's probably true of all great art, whether it's books or not. People can have different opinions. People can differ on politics. People can differ on things. But there's a point particularly about music, where it connects to me to something. I'm not a religious person, but it connects to what I would probably have to call your soul. That sort of. It's not about language. It's not about which genre is it. It's about a human connection where some musician or artist has created something that just ties in and connects. It can either be a gut punch or it can be a hug. But either way,
I feel it's exactly the same way. I don't feel, because I have no religious bone in my body, I don't feel spiritual like that. But I utterly feel like music touches my spirit like that. So I don't believe in an afterlife. I don't believe in any kind of reincarnation or whatever. But what music does is so transcendental and so like you can't explain it. You know, what music does is absolutely incredible. And for me, that is the spiritual side of life, what music does.
And the other thing that always leaves me with a sort of a good feeling, and I'm not even sure why, is that feeling you've just described about music today in the 21st century, I've lost track. It's exactly the same thing that the caveman felt a millennium ago. It hasn't, you know,
it's always been in us. It's always been us. The singing and hitting thing is the
if I leave you with one sort of hopeful thought, the world changes and technology changes, but the bits that don't change are the deep humanistic sides of our personality, the things like love and trust and brotherhood and those sort of things. They don't change. The blueprint's still the same from the very beginning. And I think music is the thing that cuts through all the bullshit and the layers and gets straight to that humanistic piece. And that's why it matters. It's not just fun. It is fun. It's beautiful. It's art. It's wonderful, but it matters.
And just to clarify the modern aspect of that, there would have been a caveman equivalent of Rammstein.
Yep. Bigger burns.
that rage. You can see a caveman.
Raging against the machine all those years ago. Yeah. All right.
So,
okay. On that note,
because this person's been commenting a lot, so we're just they've said that they were subscribers. It's very kind. And always agree to disagree. Focus on us. Absolutely. And Karen is still here. Thank you, Karen. Music and dance. You go shopping. I love it. Thanks a lot, everybody that's watching this now and watching it later, and who's commenting later maybe. Check out the playlist.
Yeah, Mark, you deserve a medal. That's great.
It's the playlist is only one song from each of the albums. We wanted to try and focus on folk music because it's an easy thing to kind of connect to, because we kept noticing that we like the same artists, but clearly there's other things we like as well. But we're going to talk about books another time, I think, because we did have 10 books prepared that we're not going to go on for another 3 hours. So we'll do that another time. But it's been great, and can I just say, Mike, it's been really nice getting to know you as well. It's been awesome.
Likewise. I've really enjoyed it, and thank you for the invite. It was Gareth's initiative, and I really have enjoyed it. So let us know what you think, and you know, if there's people out there who've enjoyed it, we'll do more. There's a lot more to talk about.
And if you want us to talk about Dio Mali di Party or anything like that, and you know.
All right.
Thanks a lot for watching, everyone.
Thank you. Go well. See you soon.
I won't do that. I'll do that.
All right.
Hold on.
Bye-bye for now.
It's going.